Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Curious Bunny channel with Curtis from the Emanuel Swedenborg. Is that right?
Yeah, I just say Swedenborg.
Okay, it's just Swedenborg. It's just how it comes out.
Yeah.
It's my accent. So obviously I'm from the UK.
Sure.
Whereabouts are you from, Curtis? As in which state?
I grew up in Michigan. I'm residing now in Pennsylvania, right near Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah, so that's cool. So Curtis is in Philadelphia. We've got a mixture in the chat. We've got a live chat on. We've got 7 people here now, but it will get more.
Great.
And we've got people from the UK, people from the States. We've got a couple of Canadians, Australians. So we have a big mixture where people are from. So the Hidden Underbelly, if you want to click the link, you've got the link. Can we all please welcome Curtis to the show? So hello, and we'll wait for people to come in. I'll just say a quick hello to everybody. So we've got hi, we've got Cynthia, hello sweetheart. We've got
Hey.
Renee Source, hey, Kate, the Hidden Underbelly. There you are. Are you going to click on the link, Hidden Underbelly? We've got Terry, Wyatt, Dave, Ellen, Other Side of Life. James, Jay, Blimey, Anglo-Saxon, hello, welcome. You don't have the link. Sorry, Underbelly doesn't have the link. Welcome, everybody. Right, I'll just send him the link. Apologies, I thought I'd sent it you.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, so do you want to... Underbelly's coming on now, but do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Why am I here? So my name's Curtis Childs, and I work for the Swedenborg Foundation. And that is a not-for-profit organization that was around a long time before I was. It's actually 170 years old. And it has been a not-for-profit that for the last 170 years has been working to translate and distribute material by Emanuel Swedenborg. And if you haven't heard of Swedenborg, I would think that anybody who has any kind of interest in paranormal or unusual things would get a kick out of him. He was this fascinating story where it was in the 1700s, and he was this rock star scientist and inventor and politician. He was kind of a Renaissance person, doing very well for himself. Brought the first academic journal to Sweden, founded the science of crystallography, designed apparatuses that allowed Sweden to mine more efficiently, which at the time, Sweden was this world power and its mining industry was a major industry. So he was doing all these things. But then he began to have supernatural experiences when he was in his mid-50s. And I think he's the most complete record of long-lasting supernatural experiences that probably exists anywhere. It's also fascinating because he's got what happened to him and what he experienced preserved from a couple hundred years ago. So people who now are looking at things like near-death experiences and modern phenomena look back at what Swedenborg was writing back then and see all these cool parallels and things like that. So part of what I'm doing is getting explainer videos on Swedenborg's teachings on the internet. I have a channel called Off the Left Eye here on YouTube where we go in because he's got so much material. He actually was having these supernatural experiences for like 30 years straight, and he took his really well-trained mind and a mind that was used to writing on things and publishing them, because he had published all these works on anatomy and physics and everything else, and he took that same kind of approach to cataloging what he found in these spiritual or paranormal experiences. So we explain those on my channel, and I find what he wrote about the nature of life and what he feels like he uncovered to be endlessly fascinating and useful. So I just love getting to tell people about it. So thanks for giving me a little spot to chat with you here today.
In this guy, I'm just got your channel. So hello, welcome XL1 and Rachel. I'm just going to pop your channel in. So
sure.
There we go. I'm going to pin the link. So please check out Curtis's channel there. It's called Off the Left Eye. and
Right.
it's in. Please subscribe, check him out, see what he's about. Hello, welcome to the Hidden Underbelly. Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Good to meet you.
Underbelly has a UFO type channel, so paranormal stuff. Hello, welcome everybody. Sorry if I've missed you all coming in. So yeah, Underbelly doesn't really go on camera. He's quite shy. I don't really go on camera that much, but I thought
thank you for doing it today, but no worries.
I'm trying to spare the general public.
I'm sure it's not that bad.
There's going to be so much trauma that I'm sparing you from the psychology, the psychiatrist bills, the medication. Doing you all a favor, man.
No. He's not. He's lovely. Hello, Bridget Blaine. Hello, David Bruce. Hello, Becky. Hello, everybody coming in. Exiled One, you've got a wrench now. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
So this guy, when he was alive, was he this popular? Was he after he passed away? Did he get more?
Yeah.
Famous.
He was really famous and popular before he started having these paranormal experiences. Okay. Because at the time he was well respected. He was enough of a sort of science celebrity that when he would go to, let's say, Amsterdam or London, he was from Sweden and lived there, but would travel to London and Amsterdam in particular to publish there because they had more freedom of the press, and the stuff he was publishing was outside of there was the church and state were the same thing in Sweden. So he was kind of saying stuff that the church didn't agree with. So he'd have to go out and publish it elsewhere. But when he'd go to these cities, the newspapers would say, "Oh, Swedenborg is here." He would run in circles with nobility. He could get audiences with the kings and heads of state. So he was a somebody, but when he started publishing eventually these experiences he's had where he's talking with spirits and meeting extraterrestrials and all these kinds of things. And so some people thought that was cool, but a lot of people thought it was weird. And he lost a lot of his popularity. Then there was some people who publicly, like Emanuel Kant, some other people who publicly criticized him, made fun of him. So I think it wasn't good for his career, but he seemed to really believe in the importance of it. And so he's never been really popular, but he's had a decent influence. I think there's definitely a lot of powerful cultural influencers who he influenced. For example, Helen Keller, who was big in the United States for getting all kinds of rights for people with disabilities. She read Swedenborg all the time. She credited his work with making her able to do what she did. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Thoreau. There's a lot of artists and painters and writers and things so he's had an influence. He had actually, like in the U.S., the city of Chicago, part of it is laid out based on Swedenborg's description of a city in the spiritual world. So he's had a pretty decent influence, even if not a lot of people had heard him. Back in the 1800s in the United States, there was a lot of spiritism. So that's where people would have seances and contact spirits. There was almost like a kind of a craze of that. I know it still goes on, but at the time it was really big. At that time, he got to be pretty well known. You can see newspaper clippings and things from him back in those, or mentioning him back in the day. These days, usually people haven't have heard of him. I think that. Yeah, you hadn't? Okay. So
I'm researching him now. So
yeah, there you go. So that's part of what I'm doing. Is I think that a lot of different areas where people have interest, I think you can find things that you'll like in Swedenborg, but most people don't know about him. So I'm trying to raise some awareness for that.
Brilliant. Do you want to take questions throughout, or do you want to take questions at the end? What do you prefer?
Whenever is good. Yeah. If people have questions now, we can take them. I'm really happy to go wherever the conversation goes.
I got a question.
Brill, thank you. We kind of do go with the flow on this channel quite.
That's great.
We don't take things very seriously, but we do, but we don't. We talk about important things, but we have fun doing it. We've become a very close group of friends, and
that's the best combination, I feel like.
Yeah, you
I,
have
I,
to smile, otherwise you'll go mad in this world. Sorry, Underbelly. Hello. So this is Curtis. It's Hidden Underbelly. Hidden
listen,
Underbelly. Have you got any questions
of
before
course I have.
we
Of course I
continue?
have. There's no way I could have let it go when he's telling me that a guy that he's representing saw aliens, extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So uh, he he never he doesn't ever say he saw physical aliens, but he was, so the main experiences he reported were that he was having what he would call spiritual experiences. I think now we would call them out of body experiences. People call it astral projection, something where he could go and see spirits of people who had died. And in his travels, he met spirits from people who he said had originally lived not on Earth. So he published a book in 1758 that is now everything he wrote was in Latin because that was the academic language of the day. It was kind of the global language, a little bit like English is now, but only like the very educated would read it. But all the very educated would read it in the European world, which is about as far as global communication went back then. So the English title these days is usually Other Planets. It's called. So it's like it's a whole booklet where he talks about meeting spirits from other planets and what they're like and what their mannerisms are. And actually, because he was interested in morality, life philosophy, and religion and spirituality, he would talk a lot about the spiritual and philosophical customs of those spirits and how they interact with spirits from our Earth, like what the difference in mindset was. So yeah, he originally had these accounts in his larger work that he called Secrets of Heaven, that the first thing he published, but then he pulled them out and added some info and released this little pamphlet, Other Planets, which of course caused a big stir because some people thought it was exciting and others thought that it was madness. But yeah, he was firmly convinced that we're not alone in the universe.
So was there any encounters that you could tell us, like maybe from the book, and just, maybe if you give us one, maybe two?
Yeah.
Because I still want to touch on the paranormal aspect of things.
Sure. Yeah. So in Other Planets, he has two major sections. One is where he's encountering spirits that he says originally lived within our solar system, but on different bodies within the solar system. And then he has this journey that he takes where he, in spirit, goes outside the solar system and meets from what we now call exoplanet people. So this is, I think there's 4 or 5. He just calls them Earths in the starry heavens, and he meets people from those planets. I would say he meets certain spirits who are very knowledge focused and don't really care about physical things. He says that when they came and talked to him, all they were interested in is like the kinds of things he knows. They want to know on Earth, what are the systems of government? What are the laws and philosophies people have? But when he tried to show them like out of his memory, because he could communicate in spirit, like memory to memory, he tried to show them like, well, this is what the buildings look like. They weren't interested in that. So they were just interested in what are the thoughts that are going on there.
How we are as a civilization, not so much as building and structures, but
exactly.
How do we exist?
How do we exist? What do we value? And what advances have we made? There was a time when he came to the edge of the solar system in spirit, and that's not, he said, is not done by traveling physically. Like you're not shooting along physically. You're actually, the way that spiritual travel works is you kind of link minds with different communities, and as you do that, it changes your mindset enough that you can travel to different parts of the spiritual side of the world. Because he says there's not time and space like there is here. So he says at the edge of, but as you get to the equivalent of the edge of the solar system, there was a barrier. There was a barrier that you had to actually get permission to move through. And so he was able, because he had this guide that he was with, to get this permission and move through. But there was a couple other spirits who wanted to try to do it, but didn't have that permission. And it's almost like they hit an electric fence or something, and they kind of got shocked or had some distress and went back, but he was able to continue on. So there's a couple of anecdotes. Let's see. He also,
well, did he ever describe any of them, what they look like?
Yeah, he called them all human. So even though I don't think he was trying to assert that they're all the same biological species, to him, what makes you human is your ability to be rational and your ability to love things. And so he would call all these. He's called them all human. He does describe different characteristics. They're all humanoid. Some of them are shorter and squatter. Some of them are taller and have smaller faces and pointier chins. But they're remarkably similar to human beings. He talks about the mannerisms that they have. Some of them have kind of larger faces. Some of them don't want you to see their backs. They only want you to see their fronts, because they believe that that's almost like the equivalent of bad karma to show your back to someone. So he doesn't give any descriptions that are drastically different, but there are some meaningful differences there. And he doesn't dwell a ton on physical details. He'll give you a couple of lines like, oh yeah, they wore this kind of clothing. He talks about some of them having like pointed hats that go up like that. I guess like the cone heads, right? Like that show.
Dan Aykroyd is an alien.
Yeah. So he doesn't. It is interesting that he seems much more interested in their like philosophy and way of life than their appearance. But he'll give you a few details. He generally they're in more egalitarian, less materialistic, less warlike societies than we are. Not all of them, but mostly it seems like they have their act together a little more than we do.
Well, it would be interesting. One question: did he ever find out if they had any form of currency on their planet?
I don't think he mentions currency, and I don't know if he. Yeah, it seems like they were less. Often they're less materially developed than we are. It was more regular for them to do things like be able to talk to spirits or talk to people in the afterlife. That seemed to be a regular feature of theirs. But he does describe on some of these planets things like livestock and houses, and so it seems like their civilization follows a similar trajectory to ours, but maybe didn't place emphasis on the same kind of advancing in technology and that sort of thing.
No, that's the reason why I asked, because you said they weren't interested in war.
Yeah.
So in order not to be interested in war, there must be something that you have nothing to gain. And if they have no financial, my other question would have been, did he ever mention, do they have a spiritual, like how we have churches or something?
Yes, they definitely.
Is there a divide, or do they believe in one thing?
He see all of the ETs that he came into contact with seem to believe in some kind of supreme being. He describes they did have methods of worship. They have certain structures that they would build to that. I think there was a little less sort of ritual and dogma around what they did, but it did seem like they were all pretty spiritual people, and they regularly had contact with people in the afterlife. Like there were certain spirits that when they were getting close to dying, they would see a vision of, I think it was a vision of a bald head. And from that, they knew that they were going to die soon. There was some who would, if they were starting to take up a dark path, there would be spirits that would come and try to convince them not to do it. It didn't always work. It just seemed like, in general, the veil between the worlds was thinner for those societies than it was, at least in Swedenborg's day, for humans.
I believe that we were like that once as well, and we can get back to that.
That's I agree too, and Swedenborg was adamant that like this is the way that they are is how we're supposed to be. Like he had all this contact with the spiritual world, and he wasn't saying, oh, I can do this because I'm different or special. This is how it's supposed to be. And actually he would talk about the way that some of these ETs were living and saying that's actually how people used to be in our world. So I'm right with you on that.
We've got a question from Ellen. Did he make predictions about the future?
The only prediction that he made, all the predictions he made were in one general category, and it had to do with the dawning of a new spiritual era for the human race. So he would talk about what he calls churches, but when he uses that word, he's not talking about church organizations like we would think about them now. When he says churches, he generally means spiritual eras for the human race. So he'll talk about an earliest church which existed in the world. And it doesn't mean everybody had the same religion or dogmas. People could have very different beliefs, but they all had a certain way of being. And what was most important to them was kindness to other people and living a spiritual life. So that was when we were in this state that he describes that are kind of like some of these aliens are living in. That was the first church. But then once people started to get more selfish and materialistic and a little more warlike and into conquest, that died off, and there was a next more superficial spiritual era. So he said that it actually, since that earliest times, we've kind of been on a downward progression, and we've been getting successively more violent and warlike and lost sight of the importance of love. But he said that he actually said that in 1757 there was a major event in the spiritual world that fixed a lot of things up, and that from that actually has affected the way our consciousness works here and where humanity is heading. So he said that when that happened, people's like intellectual freedom improved, and that's why since then you've seen such an explosion in the not just advance in technology and things, but that people think more freely about things, that people are less kind of boxed in by certain ideologies. People look to understand each other more, that sort of thing. So all of this is in service of, he felt like there was what he called a new church or a new sort of universal spiritual era coming, when people would kind of get back to that state we were talking about, where the spiritual world is a reality to you, where we're not materialistic and selfish by default, where we're more loving and empathetic by default, and that this was something we were going to, and not, but sort of like in the way that when you're a little kid, you can be innocent, but that's because you don't know anything else. But once you've lived a lot of life, you can get to this point where you're kind of choosing to do what's right. That's kind of where humanity gets to, because we've gone and we've found out the wrong way to do it, and now we can get into this new, like a really spiritual era, but spiritual by choice. So his big prediction was that the new church would come. He didn't say exactly when it would happen or exactly what it would look like, but it wouldn't be like a single church organization. It would be more like the way that all of humanity thinks and acts around things. And there's a lot of people who have read Swedenborg who think there's already signs of it happening, just in the way that people like, human rights and things that our tendency to sort of see each other as human more. So yeah, that's his only prediction. It's not very specific, but he really believed it was an important change coming for us.
Yeah, and it was so long ago as well.
Right.
Hopefully he was right in a way, because the world's gone to shit.
Yeah, I know. It is intense. Yep.
I've got to ask the question.
Okay, I've got a question after. You carry on.
No, you go first then, because mine's silly.
Yours is silly.
Silly.
Yeah, silly.
We've always got silly questions. Go on, silly questions are fun.
What would you have said? What would you have thought he would have said to the decriminalization and legalization of cannabis?
That's a great question.
Thank you. I thought it would be silly.
No, it's not silly, because I think that, I just know that I know people who have benefited from using cannabis medically a lot, like people who are struggling with anxiety and depression. So I feel like, and I know that for a lot of people it's important. So he doesn't really give any indication of his views on substances. I know that he drank a lot of coffee, and I think that, you know, people did like snuff back in those days, like you have a little snuff box, it's like tobacco, and I think he would have that.
Snuff.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So so I think he was doing that sometimes, but he doesn't really come down hard on either side. I think that most likely it's really his overall philosophy. It's not about the action, it's about the intent behind the action and then the effect of the action. So if for example, you know, cannabis is legalized and that allows you to, your intent is to, you know, be useful to the human race, like this is going to allow me to function better so I can go out and do what's good, then I would think it's probably good. It has to do with what's it all for and what's the impact it's having on you. So there's my best guess at it, an answer to that.
Okay. Any more? Keep your questions coming, and I'll grab them when I can. But obviously, the chat moves quite quickly. Welcome everyone coming in. Sorry, I haven't done an individual welcome to everybody tonight, but as you can see, we've got an interview. If people are coming in and they're like, "What's going on?" This is Curtis from the Emanuel. I can't say right saying Swedenborg.
That's fine.
Can't help it. It just sounds rolls off my tongue.
That's good.
And
We'll change it.
All about the life and the writings of this dude. I've got a question. Okay,
This dude.
This
is a great academic. This was a great scientist, and he's been reduced to dude.
This dude.
Would he be spinning right now?
Yeah. Well, people that know me know that is probably the most you're going to get.
That's got like it.
That is, yeah. I see that everyone's equal. So, you know, when I say this dude, it's not a disrespect. It's just, you know, it's dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude is a title of great honor.
There you go. I wanted to ask you, how did the Christians, you know, Christianity and those from the church, the traditional church, Catholic and also Anglican, how did they deal with this? Did they have major problems, or did they have any sort of similar, you know, was there any similarities? And also, did Emanuel believe in Jesus Christ?
Yeah, so it's an interestingly mixed reaction that he had, because Swedenborg is hard to categorize. A lot of people, if you go look him up on Wikipedia, he probably will say he's a Christian mystic. I think that's often how he's categorized.
New Age Christian.
Oh yeah, because he will absolutely, like, he was in the Christian world. His father was a Lutheran bishop, and he, all throughout his writings, if you open them up, you'll see a lot of Christian terminology. He talks about heaven and hell. He talks about the Bible. He talks about Jesus. Yes, he was absolutely convinced that Jesus was God and was like the God that you should follow. But a lot of what he wrote was so radically different from Christianity. He actually got put on trial for it in Sweden for heresy near the end of his life. For example, heaven and hell. He wrote that those are primarily psychological states rather than places. That hell is not a place you go to get punished. Heaven is not a place you go to get rewarded. But heaven is starts with the enjoyment of doing something that benefits someone. That is like the source of heaven, and hell is the enjoyment of doing something that harms someone. And so from that, you can create, if you go around living a life where you enjoy helping people, you create this kind of heaven in yourself and for other people, and it's the opposite with that. So that was different. He also said that you don't have to be a Christian to go to heaven, and that was something that was shocking to a lot of the Christian world at the time. He talked a lot about the spiritual validity of religions of all kinds, and so there was enough that was very different. And he took issues with a lot of Christianity, with the doctrine of faith alone, that if you just say, I believe in Jesus, that's what it's all about. He felt like that was causing all kinds of problems. And I mean, there was a guy named D.T. Suzuki who was one of the people I think it was in the early 1900s, who was credited with bringing Zen Buddhism to the West. And he wrote this book called Swedenborg, Buddha of the North, because there was a lot of underlying similarity in the worldview that Swedenborg put out and Buddhist philosophy. So I think it's like, in some ways there was some positive reception in the Christian world. There were some people who felt like, oh, this is a much more rational, loving take on this. I like what you're saying. There were some people who said this is heresy and we're going to get you. So it was kind of it was a lot of both.
Yeah, because I suppose you've got so many different with the Christian church. You've got like Orthodoxy, and you've got your Catholicism, your Anglican, you've got your Methodist, Pentecost. You've got all these different types of Christianity, and I'm guessing it comes down to how strict a Christian they are and how much they're willing to accept that there could be another way. So I can understand that. We've got a question asking. I've got a bit of an echo. I don't know if it's me. We've got a question asking: was he a Knights Templar?
As far as I know, there's no conclusive record of him being one of those. I know that there was a Masonic rite made in his honor called the Swedenborg Rite.
I was going to say, was he part of the Freemasons?
But I don't think he was part of it. I mean, we have a lot of records of his life, and he kept a running journal of all of his experiences. He never mentions being part of that group. So I would guess not.
Yeah, it's strange that they did that, though.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Just saying they could be trying to jump on that bandwagon. Sorry, carry on, Ali.
I have a question from Free Speech Warrior, and they wanted to know: did he visit planets, or was it other dimensions?
So he did not visit planets. He says it early on. He says it's impossible for him. So all of his traveling was traveling in spirit. So it's out of body experiences where the mechanics. A brief overview of how he described the mechanics of it is that you have a spirit and a body, which is like a dualist view that I think a lot of people have had. And just like your body is somewhere physically right now. I'm sitting in this little room. Your spirit is in the physical world. Your spirit is somewhere in the spiritual world. And your spirit also has sensory organs, just like your body does. So eyes and ears and all the other things by which you can see what's going on in the world. So if you get to a point where you can get your physical senses to stop taking up all of your attention, you can actually start to be aware of what's your spiritual senses see. So you can open your spiritual eyes. That's what Off the Left Eye has to do with on our channel, the title of our channel. So then from that, if you become aware of the spiritual world, you can start to see things there. He says that he never was able to see other planets because those are physical things. All he could do was meet spirits of people who said that they used to be on those planets or were shown to be associated with those planets. So yeah, he never saw the physical planets. He just hung out with people who were from there.
So is it safe to then say that he was kind of in communications with interdimensional beings?
Yeah, I mean, the people, I think the spirits he was talking to were generally were dead. I mean, they weren't still on their planet like he was. He was talking to people who had moved on into the afterlife. I don't know if he ever talked to somebody who was in the same state that he was, where he was kind of citizen of both the physical and spiritual world at the same time. So, but that's certainly a way to put it. I mean, he would talk about, he calls them, well, it's all Latin words, but it's translated worlds. So he talks about a spiritual world and a physical world, and actually there being different layers within the spiritual world, where just like right now in the physical, and if you want to use the word dimension, in the physical dimension, we can't see the spiritual dimension, even if it's right around us, because we're not tuned into that frequency. But within the first level of the spiritual dimension, you can't really see the second level of the spiritual dimension, and same with the third. So there's even you could say that there's as many as 7 dimensions, because he talked about 3 positive levels. Yeah,
interesting, because it's kind of like the flip side of Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, right. Yep.
We've got a question from David Banner. Was he into alchemy?
I think he had a little bit of dabbling in trying to achieve the aims of alchemy, but I don't think it was one of his major scientific pursuits. I think the things he was really into was engineering and anatomy, and specifically in anatomy, he wrote some important texts about it. He was, at least near the end of it, he was trying to find the seat of the soul in the body. So how does the body and the soul connect? And he wasn't able to find it. And it was shortly after that he started to have these experiences. And it was interesting that he didn't, once he started having spiritual experiences, he didn't say like, oh, I wasted all my time doing all that science stuff, because the spiritual, that's all that matters. To him, he felt like all that was kind of preparation, that he had to understand the physical world and how it worked in order to understand the spiritual world, because the two are absolutely connected to each other. They're not directly connected. Like, you could never go, if I just, kept walking that way for 1,000,000 miles, I could get to the spiritual world, but they're like dimensions kind of on top of each other. And they do communicate with each other through what he called correspondences, which is like, it's this universal symbolism where when something happens in the spiritual world, we'll see a symbolic reaction to it here in the physical world. You see your dreams are in correspondences, he was saying, and also like forms of life here, that animals and birds and fish and even human beings were all kind of an image of things that go on in the spiritual world. So the worlds are right on top of each other. Dimensions interact a lot, but not directly.
Okay. Underbelly, have you got any more questions before we go back to chat for questions?
Oh, I've got tons. I could keep this brother chatting all night, man.
Can I just ask you a personal question, if you don't mind? You don't have to answer. What made you get into his teachings, or you don't have to tell us?
No, I'd be happy to. Well, so I always knew of them. I mean, my parents were readers of Swedenborg, and so I always knew that he was around. When I really got into it, though, when I started to I'm enough into it that I would go on YouTube shows and talk about it. That was when I was 18 or 19 years old. I started to have my first major bout of anxiety and depression. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't have a label for it, but I just started to have these uncontrollable negative thoughts and feelings, and I had obsessive compulsive disorder. I'd feel really like, I've got to do this. I got to tap this thing this many times. It was a total mess, and I didn't really get what it was or what it all meant. And so I did a couple of things to try to get help with that. I was doing therapy and nutrition and that sort of stuff. But it was sort of in that, and then shortly after that I really started in earnest to read Swedenborg and what he said about why our minds are the way that they are. And I was able to start seeing things in there that I was like, oh, this is exactly how my mind works. And they became really valuable tools to me. And they were really helpful in getting my world straight and getting myself back balanced. And so that was when I first started to really feel like, oh, this is great. And then once you feel like something is helpful to you, you feel an obligation to make sure people know about it. So that is like the story of how I started getting into it.
So were your parents part of the foundation, or they just was interested?
No, not the Swedenborg Foundation. And really, there's a couple of different organizations that
Okay.
are Swedenborg related. There was a Swedenborgian church in our area that they would go to, but that's different than the Swedenborg Foundation. So yeah, none of them are very big, but there's a few different kinds of organizations around the world that are either like publishing and translating or gathering around Swedenborg's ideas in different kind of ways. But the Swedenborg Foundation is just you can be a member of it, but that just means like you can get discounts on books and stuff like that. There's not a ton of participating with it. I really like it because I like the nonprofit approach, and it's just like we're just giving free education and ideas and things, and so I've really enjoyed that. But no, I didn't even know about the Swedenborg Foundation until I was in my mid-20s or something.
Okay, we've got a question from Bridget Blaine. Did he take drugs? I'm guessing, and
Yeah.
that isn't a joke question. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're asking as in, is that how was it astral projection that he did?
Yeah. So it was as there's no record of him taking drugs. I mean, people have theorized that he was doing opiates or something, but there's no, as I said, there's no. He never mentions it in any of his journals or diaries, and there's no record of it, the public record or anything like that. So it would be speculation. What he says is that the experiences he was having, I think, astral projection. People use the terms in different ways. So astral projection would be when somebody is able to leave their body, but it's not like you're zooming around the room like you would in a out of body experience, but this is where you go to some other world or dimension. He was doing that, but he was also having all these other kinds of experiences. It seemed like he had every kind that you can have, because sometimes he would be sort of in, like augmented reality where you're seeing the world, but there's like a digital overlay on it. Sometimes he would be just functioning in the physical world, and he'd be writing and publishing or going to parties or something like that, but he'd also be aware at the same time of the spiritual world and how even spirits were commenting on what was going on around him. Sometimes he would be working and writing and just get visual phenomena, like he would see a flame, and it depending on what color it was, he felt like that was an indication of whether what he was writing was accurate or not. Sometimes he would be totally in the spirit, so that like if somebody was having an astral projection where you couldn't see anything of what was going on Earth, you were just in that world. And he does say that once or twice, just to be shown what it was like, he was actually taking a walk through, I think it was London, and he went into one of these astral projections, and when he came back to his body was like across the city. Like it had somehow been able to keep walking. He said, that was a couple times to be shown. So he says that all these experiences happened because of his spiritual senses getting opened, and it was about the way the spiritual world impacts the physical world. I happen to think that some substances people take might have some kind of similar effect where things are coming through like that, although with varying degrees of distortion. But he never indicates that he was doing substances. So I guess I can't know for sure though.
Yeah, so there's no sort of record of that.
Right.
I'm just going to see if we've got any more questions before.
I say ask his dealer.
Yeah, they don't call it astral projection anymore, do they? They call it what do they call it now, underbelly? They don't seem to use that term anymore, do they?
No, they do. It's just quiet. I think you might be thinking now more of remote viewing.
That's it, remote viewing.
Remote viewing is a lot different from astral projection.
Yeah, but people seem to use that term for both.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they don't. You get what I mean? Because remote viewing is an element of time travel. Because if you look at the CIA documents on remote viewing, man, they went back in time when they went to Mars. Do you know about this story and all that?
No, I don't.
Well, this is the CIA open files on remote viewing. It's all there, man.
Cool. No, I'll have to check it out.
Yes. Yeah, there's been a lot of declassified sort of from the CIA, MK Ultra and all that. Have you ever looked into all that? Like the MK Ultra project.
Just a little bit. I know that they recently did a bunch of more declassifying, and I've just like heard people's summaries of it and stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. Did hello everyone coming in? Did Emanuel get persecuted much by the state then? So you say that he got into trouble.
He got into trouble. It wasn't like they were trying to get a verdict condemning his works as heretical. He wasn't ever in that much danger because he was a pretty well-connected guy. He was actually, his name used to be Svedberg, I guess is how you pronounce it in Swedish, but it got changed to Swedenborg when his family got ennobled. So he was powerful enough that probably it wouldn't have been like he went to jail. But in the end, I think that he wasn't convicted in that trial, so he was all right. He wasn't allowed to. I mean, there was definitely rules about his books and them not being allowed in Sweden. A lot of them weren't allowed in Sweden. That's why he had to go to London and Amsterdam and distribute them there. But it wasn't too. There was some, but it wasn't. I don't think it was a major threat to him. But it was certainly made it more difficult for him to be doing what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I can imagine, because he's going against the grain of the state, the church, and everything, really, isn't he? It's for that time, was it 1700s? It was pretty out there, wasn't it?
It was going against the grain of everything. It was going against the state and the church, but even the scientific community, because this was a time when it was enlightenment. Kind of, we can by rationality and observation, we can figure all these things out. We're just starting to not believe in spirits and things like that. And then he is one of these important scientists, and he's saying, oh, there is a spiritual world. He was going against that as well. He tries to do it in the style of his time. That's what he'll tell you. Look, all of this is based on my direct observation, because that was a big thing. People were moving into direct observation. It's just the things that he was observing were way out there, and the method by which he was doing it was controversial. So it was a hard road to take, but he never he didn't regret it, I don't think. I mean, you can see from the letters and things he wrote, he felt like it was really important to let people know the full scope of life, that people were going to get a much more complete picture of it. So I think with all the side effects, he still wanted to do it.
How did he die? I'm not sure if I missed that bit at the start.
Yeah, he died peacefully. I think it was at age 82, which was quite old for 1700s. And according to records from the person he was staying with, he had a room he was renting, because it wasn't in Stockholm where his house was. According to records from that person, he knew when he was going to die. He said, he had a couple of indications. That one, in a letter with somebody, that they were saying, well, when you come back to Stockholm, let's meet together. And he said, well, I'm not going to be coming back, because I'll be dying in London. And then also from the person he was staying with, they said that the last thing he said was he's wondering what time it was. And when they said what time it was, he said, oh, that's good. I'll be going soon. And then he just died peacefully in his sleep there. So to him, he was a guy who, according to his records, he was spending a lot of his time in the afterlife anyway. So it was probably not a big shock. But yeah, it was a peaceful death. There was a little drama afterwards. Actually, at one point, somebody stole his skull out of his grave, and I'm not sure why they did it. There's in like Ripley's Believe It or Not, there's an article about it, but I think they got it back. He's buried in Sweden somewhere. But that old legend. Someone robbed his grave.
Is it the same practice like they have with Notre Dame's skull? Like if you can drink wine from his skull, you gain the wisdom.
Okay, maybe someone's trying to level up there.
I'm just wondering, just curious.
It could be.
I just killed the conversation there.
Sorry, I'm back. Underbelly. I'm just having a quick cuppa. So cup of tea. Have you got any more questions for Curtis? And chat, have you
Okay.
got any more questions?
Yeah,
There's so
let's
many
see if
things,
chat's.
isn't there? It's like trying to think of them all because it's such an interesting topic.
It is, yeah.
Curtis's channel as well. I've pinned it in the chat.
So where did he want this to lead to then, or what is the foundation?
Yeah. So Swedenborg didn't start any organizations over the course of his life. All he ever did was write books and distribute them. And he had an intent. So all the organizations that today exist around Swedenborg are kind of like fan groups, right? Whereas it's people who thought this is important, we don't want this to disappear. So, for example, Swedenborg Foundation was to, get his works translated from Latin into English and make sure that they remained in print. Swedenborg's mission himself, he seemed to be trying to get the material which he felt like had really important spiritual and religious and existential concepts in it, widely distributed and have it make an impact on the culture. I think he was trying to reform the Christian church. He had a number of his works. He was calling out what he felt like was inaccurate and harmful about the Christian church, and saying what he was basically saying. Look, this is how it actually is in heaven. So do things this way instead. I think he was trying to change that. He was also trying to get his works picked up in academic circles. I think he was trying to combat the growing disbelief in anything supernatural in academic circles. So he was trying to, there were certain books he wrote with very little religious reference that were more philosophically minded, that I think he was trying to convince academics of that. But also he wrote a lot about what he called the common people, and making sure that they weren't led astray by religious leaders and academic leaders who didn't have it right and didn't have their best interests in heart. So I think he was trying to correct the way humanity thought about a lot of things, correct the way that they thought about God and life after death and religion and the purpose of all that. So I think he was trying to influence the way the world thought about things, but he didn't have, his plan started and stopped at, I'm going to get these books distributed and I'm going to try to publicize them. I mean, he went, he did, like, he had a marketing plan that he kept having to adjust it because it was slow on the uptake. There's a lot of people who, his works are pretty dense and pretty philosophical, and a lot of times people were slow to pick them up. But he was able to secure a meeting with a king. I think I'm blanking on it right now, but I believe it was the king of Sweden and the queen as well, and then a couple of high-ranking nobles, and they talked for a long time about Swedenborg's what he had seen, and so that was that was a big event to Swedenborg, and he also would go and enter into debates and things. So he was trying to get the books out, but I think he thought, if I can get these ideas into the public consciousness, people can use them to make the world a better place.
Thank you. I've got a question from Free Speech Warrior again. Just throwing them out there, man.
Sure.
What did he think of the Bible as opposed to the religion?
Yeah, so his first publication in what you could call his spiritual or theological phase, after he started having these experiences, was called Secrets of Heaven, or the Latin title is Arcana Celestia. And that was centered around the Bible. It ended up being, I think, 11 volumes in the original Latin. It's now 15 volumes in English. It's huge. And it's going through and detailing how the Bible is written in correspondences. So remember, I was talking before about correspondences being this symbolic, universal symbolic language. He says that actually the earliest divine revelation to human beings was nature. That everything in nature has a meaning. Like if you know what you're looking for when you see the way that trees grow and the way that birds fly and the way that everything is, you can see kind of the divine mysteries written into that. He says that as people lost that, it became necessary to have a sort of written revelation that's all in this same kind of symbolic language. So to him, for example, the beginning of the Bible, where it talks about how the world got made, That's not actually an account of the formation of the planet Earth. That is all of the Bible is telling you allegorically about spiritual things. So that's the process of spiritual rebirth that everyone goes through. So each day in the 7 days of creation has a particular meaning about the stages of your mind that it goes through as you wake up to spiritual reality. All the story, we're working on something right now about the story of the Garden of Eden, and how that's not actually about the first two human beings, but that's actually about, I was talking before about how humanity was in this early spiritual era where kindness was natural and people could interact with the spiritual world. That's represented by the Garden of Eden, and that whole story with Adam and Eve is about the human race and how we fell away from that into self-centeredness and materialism. So to him, the Bible was extremely important, but it was also there was a whole spiritual side to it that actually is what gave its spiritual importance. This is another thing that obviously was very different than the prevailing Christian church's interpretation of it. So it caused some uproar. But to him, the Bible was very important. But the reason it was important is because the physical detail of all the stories about people are walking through the wilderness and they're building temples and things. The reason that's important is because that symbolizes these universal spiritual truths. So it's kind of a way of repackaging the original divine revelation that you could read in nature and the way the world works into kind of a written form that people could interact with.
But did he ever say that the Bible was an incomplete book?
So there was parts. He says there was parts of the Bible that lacked parts of the Bible that had what he called an internal sense. So that's where they were entirely they're symbolic. He said there's certain parts of it that don't have that symbolism. A lot of the epistles, while he says that they could be useful, they're not the same style. The book of Job has some correspondences in it, but not total. He says some of the books that are in it were actually transferred from, there used to be an older revelation that he called the ancient word that was somewhere in Asia, but a lot of it was lost. But actually, like the first 5 books of the Bible came from that. So there's definitely some rough edges around it.
It's never lost, is it?
Yeah. So it's certainly, like, he wouldn't say, "Oh, just go read the literal sense of the Bible and that'll tell you everything you need to know." And also, he would say that the spiritual meaning is the real power in it. Because if you just go read the book at face value, there's all kinds of stuff in there that is.
That's one thing I agree with.
People are treating each other terribly sometimes in there. So what's it mean? Well, how is that from God? So to him, it was like that is it's like a dream. It's like a dream that has meaning in it. So that the stories are pointing you towards something. It's not saying go act like this person acted, but it is telling you something important about what goes on. So that was kind of his take.
See, sometimes, and I think it's a human nature thing, but sometimes we get caught up in the messenger and forget about the message. Right?
Yeah. We get stuck on the packaging, that comes in.
All right. I think Penny's got a question. What do you think about What do you think about the Fibonacci spiral?
Yeah, that's the next question from David Banner. Asks that question. I'm just on my phone so I can catch those.
So I know that, as I was just saying, Swedenborg was a firm believer that everything in nature is a correspondence or a representation of the way that spiritual and divine things work. I don't believe he ever mentions the Fibonacci sequence in particular. He will often allude to the more that you study. He talks a lot about spirals, and we did a whole show on what's it called? Because I know the Fibonacci sequence, you can map it onto that. But Spirals of the Spirit is one of our episodes about that, because he talks a lot about those. I don't know if he ever mentions the Fibonacci sequence. I know he talked about the human mind spiraling in a certain direction. He talks about groups of spirits going in these spirals or choirs or gyres, he'll sometimes call them. He says that that's actually a really significant shape, but I don't know if he ever gets into Fibonacci in particular.
We don't know. I know people are saying, was he a Freemason? We have covered that, and there's no proof of that he was during his time when he was alive.
Right.
But the Freemasons did actually do some, what was it, a stone or something? Did you say they did?
Swedenborg Rite, I believe it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the right. It was like a Wikipedia just has it as like it's a fraternal order modeled on Freemasonry. So it was kind of like an offshoot of that. I actually am not a scholar of that, but I don't think he was directly involved in it. It was just around for a very short period of time too.
Was it a stoned altar?
I don't know. You have to check it out.
I'm just playing, man.
I know you are.
Okay. Have we got any more questions?
Could I ask a quick question? Because going back to the religious stuff and the spirit, see, I'm on the same page as that, man. And it's really, what was his take on creation then?
Yeah, like how did everything come to exist? You mean?
Indeed. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So he doesn't give a lot of detail. He says that everything there's two underlying elements to reality, which he calls divine love and divine wisdom. And these are terms that he will both use in a psychological sense, like he'll talk about love and wisdom as something you feel and know, but he'll also talk about them as, he'll say divine love is substance. It's the primary substance, and divine wisdom is the form that substance can take. So he says that everything that we see was created by God, from divine love through the agency of divine wisdom. And he'll talk briefly and vaguely about that, but he never really gives much of a treatise on how
that doesn't kind of sit with the badness, like say from the earliest of Cain and Abel.
So the way that he explained the problem of evil is that evil is sort of backwards goodness. I guess you could look at it like darkness is you're blocking out light. He talks about all life comes from God and life is good, but the results it produces depends on what kind of receiver you have. He makes the analogy over and over about, because he was a gardener. He had in Stockholm, he had his house and he had a garden. And when he was writing his books, he's often in his garden house there. So he used this analogy where you can have the same sunlight and the same warmth, which he says that's a correspondence to love and wisdom, that animate two different seeds, but one turns out to be a flower that smells good. The other one could be poison sumac or something, or a thorny plant, so that we can, through if we can, through our choices, and the human race can at large, turn our minds in such a way that when goodness comes in, it gets reversed, and that the longing for, when I talked about heaven and hell before, that heaven is the enjoyment in doing something good for someone. That's the core of heaven. Hell is that like warped backward. So it's taking that joy that's supposed to be in doing good for someone and twisting it in the opposite direction, so it becomes joy at harming someone or dominating someone in some way. So yes, and even love and wisdom, yeah, even though they have to do with goodness and truth, there's an side of them that's just like, this is the building blocks of the universe. But yes, things are intrinsically meant to be good, but don't always play out that way.
Okay, I totally get you. So basically, good people do bad things. So just because you do something bad doesn't make you an evil person. Is that what he's trying to say?
Nothing, no single thing that you do makes you a bad person. So who we are depends on what we love and what we intend. So, and over the long term, like we sort of throughout the course of your life, whatever you love, but meaning whatever you go after and do and enjoy intentionally, that becomes part of you. So positive and negative. So, but if you're trying overall, like I want to try to be a good person. I don't want to harm people. I generally want to treat them with respect, but you do something that's out of character, that's not a deal breaker. He talks about in the work of spiritual growth. Yeah, that it almost doesn't even matter. I mean, of course, you don't want to go and like, okay, now I can go and hurt someone and then get back to my good stuff. But if it's an accident, and if you feel like, oh, I want to make amends or something, yeah, it's not like, oh, now you're doomed forever because of that. No, I think that was something he was pushing back against, that this idea of like a vengeful God and that you're keeping score. No, it's about what are you trying to do? Well, overall, what are you trying to do? What's in your heart? That's what makes us who we are.
Did he believe in one creator, like as in one God?
Yes. Yep.
Lots of gods.
Definitely, to him, the way the universe makes sense is emerging from one infinite being, which he referred to by a lot of names, but most commonly by the divine or by God.
Sorry.
Sorry, carry on. No, carry on.
I just wanted to ask another question, because he was around in the 1700s, yeah, or 17th century.
Yeah, he was born in 1688 and he died in, I think, 1772.
Okay, so around the 1700s, wasn't there another surge in the Earth being round or flat?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the time period well enough.
Was there a thought? Did he think that the Earth was round, or did he ever?
It's not round. It's that it's a spinning ball.
Yeah, okay. I don't.
Did he ever mention that?
I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't know. I mean, I would assume he probably did think it was a spinning ball.
Yeah.
Because so we have a bit of a debate here on one.
Okay. Yeah,
I've been down that rabbit hole, and I've come to the conclusion that NASA lie, and we are not spinning around on a spinning ball. That we are.
I don't know. It's certainly not an area of focus in his writings, but let me not get in the middle of this debate here.
No, don't. We don't. We have a bit of fun with it. And
I know.
One of the guests, one of the chat asked that question. Was he a bally or a?
Oh yeah, I think probably a bally. Yeah, I would just always assume so, but I don't know. I have to go check and make sure.
NASA wasn't there then, Underbelly. So
there was no NASA.
He didn't need NASA though. He's so smart. He understood. He understood. Like you said, he was shown a gyro. He represented things as a gyro. Am I right? Did you not say that?
I said that there's a lot of things that fall into that shape. Yep.
And see, as I understand it, the Earth, how it generates energy is through gyro electricity. So it has to be spinning.
Did he have any thoughts on the pyramids or anything like that?
Yeah.
Not on the structure of the pyramids. He said that hieroglyphics were based in correspondences and a knowledge of correspondences. So that universal symbolism that I was talking about, he said that people used to even understand what the correspondences meant, but there had been some loss of that. But still, Egyptian, a lot of Egyptian culture was based around that. Even like the Greek and Roman mythology was based around knowledge of correspondences that came up through places. So he certainly saw some value in it. I don't think he doesn't say anything about the particular importance of the pyramids though.
Okay, because obviously many believe, as do I, that they're a source of energy.
And what's interesting though, Penny?
Sorry.
You know what's quite interesting, Penny? There have been some olden accounts of like UFO sightings. And I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but I'm sure Roswell, they said they saw hieroglyphs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what he's saying, like, that's a universal language. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, you could be right. You know,
Or it could
I'm
be just too
intrigued
stoned.
whether they ever visit. I know that he went there. Did they ever come here? Did
Yeah.
did he ever, or don't you know? If he ever had that sort of spiritual connection in this realm or whatever it is?
Yeah. So let's see. I know he says that as you go up the levels, what do you call the levels of heaven? There's the lowest. There's 3 levels, and those are all levels. They're all based on state of mind. So they're not like blocked off by a floor or something. But if your mind is open to the first level, then you're in that first level. If your mind opens to the second level, and the way that he talked about levels, it was like, think about it not necessarily like levels on a ship, but levels of magnification. So if you think about the difference between, you can just look at the organ level, like if you're just talking about like a kidney, you can see a whole organ, or you can zoom in and see the level of tissues, and then you can look at it even on a cellular level individually. So that there's, it's sort of the deeper you go into things. To him, that's what your mind open on. The first level is just a general opening. The second level is like all the tissues and things, like the equivalent of that spiritually. The third level is like every little bit of your mind is open to this inflow of divine. So once you get to the third level, people from all different planets and things are all there together. On the lower levels, people are a little more separated out because they think so differently about life. I mean, and that is what makes you more or less spiritually compatible. So I think that he talks about certain spirits that did like to travel around the solar system and try to learn everything that they could. So I would imagine that, yeah, they could come into his space where he was. But yeah, that's all he says about it.
That's how I would be.
Yeah.
That's how I would be. If I died and I could manage to get to that level, I'd be. What would you call it then? Would you call it a universal traveler?
That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, you have a bunch of cool places to visit.
Where did he believe we went when we died? Did he believe we went anywhere, or just to the spiritual realm, or did he believe we came back?
Yeah, he believed that you go to the spiritual realm. People ask about reincarnation a lot. He never gives an indication that you can return physically to another body. We did a show called "Do We Reincarnate?" and in there we give all the answers on, because he does talk about some things that are similar to reincarnation, but happening at the spiritual level. And he does give an explanation for why people have memories that seem like they're from past lives. He said that that's actually the leakage of memory from spirits who are around you. So that's their life that you're perceiving as their own, because in the spiritual world, thoughts and feelings are directly shareable. So to him, though, it's like when you die, like you're already in the spiritual world. Your spirit's already there, but when you die, you lose the body. So you really kind of, it's like you have a VR headset on and you just take it off. So you see where you really are in the spiritual world. And to him, that was kind of the beginning, because he says in the spiritual world, you continue to grow and develop forever. So
do you come back as another physical? Did he?
he didn't. I think he believed you stayed spiritual once you got there.
You get one shot at this.
It's kind of like when you're in the womb, right? You're in the womb for 9 months, and when you're in there, you're kind of you're there and you're developing, but it's just to get you ready to start your adventure. So then when you certain things about it set the foundation for how you're going to be, but then once you get out of there, once you get born, you go around and do all kinds of things and go way beyond that. So it's kind of like this life that we're in right now is like being in the womb as far as our spirit is concerned, and that our spirit is forming and growing. And then when your body dies, it's like, okay, I'm out into the spiritual world and I can start my real life now.
So where was we before we get to the womb then? So we didn't do like a Buddhism thing where we just keep going around. We just came to be in the womb from that's it,
in
you
the
know.
room.
Yeah, so that is like, we get that question a lot. People want to know about, like, is there pre-life, or people talk about did you plan your life ahead of time? It seems to be, he doesn't ever talk about where your consciousness is prior to birth. He does say
Right.
that everybody is a potential, like an embodiment of some aspect of the divine. So it's like the potential for you existed beforehand, but you actually becoming a person who can then come and embody that, because everybody can have a slightly different way of seeing life and a slightly different way of caring about life. And like I said, way back near the beginning, what we love and what we believe is what makes us human. So everybody is kind of the manifestation of that particular part of God. So it's like we existed as that, but he doesn't seem to indicate that we're conscious or something before that us as a separate individual does begin when we get born here.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a question. Welcome, April. Welcome to chat. Did Swedenborg have a view on the idea of demiurge as proposed by Plato and later the Gnostics?
So as I understand, demiurge, that's a sort of sub creator, where there's God, and then the demiurge is what makes things. Swedenborg was very, as I said before, monotheistic. So while there's only one God, but there are different parts of God. So there's the Christian concept of the Trinity, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit as being these sort of three co-equal persons. To Swedenborg, there's just one God, but just like we all have a soul and a body and then the actions of our life, to him that's like the Trinity in God. There's the divine, which is unknowable, then there's the human, which is what he said Jesus is, and then there's what you would call the Holy Spirit, is the action, the way through that God runs the world. So I think that what Swedenborg more often refers to is divine providence rather than the Holy Spirit, and how God runs the world and creates it. But also he says that the world was created out of divine truth. So divine truth being one aspect of God. So while there's only one conscious God being, God, just like we do, God has parts. So you could say, like, oh, this is the hands of God that create something, but it would just be an appearance. It's not actually a separate being.
And I think Andy, Curtis answered that because they didn't believe there was a past life. So
yes. So if you were going to be regressed into past life, I think according to Swedenborg, he says that we all have spirits that we're close to. So our spirit is in actually some spiritual community right now. So you are surrounded by spirits all the time. That's part of how the mechanism of consciousness works. The consciousness comes from God into the spiritual world, and from there into us. So if people that experience past life regression, it would be that you're somehow being let into the memories from these spirits that you're around and associated with. So that would be his explanation.
Okay, we've got a question, thank you, from Free Speech Warrior. Did he mention fractals or frequencies?
He does not mention fractals. Frequencies, he will. So whether or not those words pop up is all up to translators, because he was originally, as I said, writing in Latin. So the term frequency, I don't think he uses, but there are certainly analogous things to frequencies that he will talk about, the different states of love and wisdom in different beings in the afterlife. So different people who have died, or, like I said before, those different levels of heaven, for example, that if you're on, you could say, sort of resonating on the lowest level, you can't tune into the frequency of the next level above you. So as you're raised in the development of love and wisdom, your frequency changes to the point where you actually change location and change visibility. So I think you certainly could tie those together. But if you went to like a search tool and typed in frequencies, I don't think a lot would come up.
Can we all please do what free speech did and put a Q before your question? Because it just helps when I'm reading the chat. Because I've got chat on my computer, chat on my phone. If you can put that, it'd be great. Thank you for doing that, hon. Okay, Underbelly, have you got any more questions?
No, I'm chilled out, man.
I'm chilled out. Yeah, no, thank you, free speech. And she says thank you for the answer. April
You're
also
welcome.
April R said thank you for the answer. So have we got any more questions? I've got loads of questions and I keep thinking, oh yeah, and then I forget it because I read somebody else's question. Did you believe in time travel? Do you know?
So spiritually, there is no time and space. The divine can see all past and present, past and future as the present. I don't think he talks about time traveling. So there's those mechanics there, but I don't think he ever talks about like people going back in physical time. I think that in the spiritual world, for example, you can be regressed in state. So let's say that I died when I was 90 something. You can actually be brought back into the state of a much younger person. He talks about that being, you can become sort of like you were when you were 7, for example, and that actually can be used in these sort of like psychological healing sessions. But not anything substantial about time travel.
Is this like foundation similar to Scientology? Is it a similar thing? Because I know that they believe in aliens and stuff, don't they? And
yeah, I don't know. All I know about Scientology is I saw that documentary with Leah Remini in it. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't. Have you seen Underbelly?
It was just she was so she's an actress who was on the show King of Queens, and so she was a Scientologist, and then she made this documentary talking about how terrible it was, and that it was an organization that was really abusive and really controlling and stuff. So I would hope that we're not like that. We're very small, and like I said, there's not really membership. It's really more of like an academic or like we make YouTube videos, we translate and publish books. Once a year we have a business meeting. So I don't think so. There's Scientology, as I understand it, there's like a bunch of, you have to go through certain processes. Like they do this, I don't even know what they do, but they'll like hook you up to things and go through all these like therapy kind of things, but there's no set path like that for Swedenborg stuff.
What I meant was not the joining, but the belief system.
Yeah,
that's all I meant. I wasn't sure whether it was similar, but I'd need to look into it.
I haven't really looked into that. I know people say that there are some similarities between Swedenborg and like the Baha'i faith, and some similarities with Mormonism, and as I already mentioned, Buddhism. But I don't know enough about what Scientology is saying to know that for sure.
Underbelly, have you got any more questions?
No, I just wanted to make a statement. You know when is it Curtis?
Yeah.
Sorry. When Curtis was talking about, to become a Scientologist member, they hook you up with all kind of devices. The best way to see this is watch the South Park episode.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, that's kind of funny.
I've never.
I don't know. That's one of the episodes. I don't know how they didn't get sued.
Yeah, I know they like masters of walking that line.
Yeah, because you remember the Tom Cruise one.
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw that
when he went to work in the factory as a fudge packer.
I remember
Um,
South Park came out when I think I was in middle school when it came out, and it was like, what is this thing?
I remember it coming out as well, but I never watched it ever.
I'm sorry, I'd
Um,
still watch it.
So we've got a question, a bit random. Bogey, has this guy been in a cult? Have you ever been in a cult?
I don't think so. No, I haven't. I don't think that. Yeah, they said Swedenborg Foundation is my job, my day job, and it's a not for profit.
Oh,
So
okay.
no. Yeah.
So could I say that do you see yourself more as a librarian?
I think I'm like a teacher, because it's not we've been Swedenborg Foundation was publishing Swedenborg's books for quite a long time, but they're really difficult to just pick up and read. I mean, some people think that they're boring. Some people think they're dense and confusing. So what we discovered back when I started doing these YouTube videos was that people feel like they get a lot of profound stuff out of it, but it needs you just like needed some structure around it and some explanation. So I'm not actually part of there's a whole translation team, and these are people who have like their doctorate in Latin and know what they're doing there. I'm more of understanding it and then being able to put it in terms that people will get or see the value in. So I'm kind of like a not like a university professor, but like a how-to kind of infographic teacher.
Okay, so this is like your day job as well. Then, so you sort of this is what you do. So it's like a hobby that's also your job.
That's right. No, yeah, it's cool. Become my job. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We have a question from Bridget Blaine. Do you talk of any other people apart from this Swedenborg, or just him?
Really, what I do at Swedenborg Foundation is all like I'm a specialist. I'm a Swedenborg specialist, and I look. We'll definitely focus on some things other people have done, but it's usually in how it intersects with Swedenborg, because, as we said, like Swedenborg is so unknown in the world, and that if you can't tell, like I'm really fascinated. I love reading Swedenborg's material, which is not everyone. That's not everyone's cup of tea. So I feel like if I've got that passion, like this is my public service. It's like I'll go in there, figure out what's interesting about it, and then I'll bring it out there to you. So that's my specialty.
Is there anything you haven't read of his? Have you read everything?
Probably. There's because I haven't ever gone through chronologically. I read everything from all 30 volumes from beginning to end. So I'll just like bounce around all the time. I'll like, oh, I'm interested in this part. I want to go do this. So I mean, I feel like I've read it all, but there's definitely times when I come across something in his like Journal of Spiritual Experiences or Secrets of Heaven or one of his longer works where I feel like I don't think I ever read that before. So probably not 100%.
Okay. Well, that's good then, isn't it? So you're going to come across something new.
Yeah. Right. Because it's not like he's about to drop a new book or something. So it's like I've saved a little bit of it. Yeah.
How did I don't know if you know what the full
one of
name
his interdimensional friends could give you?
Yeah, really. Yeah, someone can channel another Swedenborg book or something.
Yeah.
How cool.
He could actually be there watching, if from the spiritual.
Yeah.
You know what?
Do you ever feel him looking at you? Do you ever feel his presence, like he's guiding you to do this?
I don't know. I hope that he would think we were representing well the message he was trying to get out. I've had people like I'll give a talk at a conference or something, and people will say, "Yeah, I can like feel Swedenborg is around you." I haven't really had spiritual experiences and things, so I haven't really had the sense of that. It would be cool. That would definitely be cool. But or he could be watching and like, oh no, that's not at all what I meant. You guys are screwing it up. So maybe it's better I can't hear it. But yeah, I haven't really had any kind of distinct encounter like that.
We've got a question from April R. How did Swedenborg view the Fall? I don't mean the band. I don't know if you know what the Fall is.
Yeah, I think she's talking about like the Christian the Fall, the which is usually attributed to the getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
when
okay.
the human race became bad. So yeah, I think there was a Christian, as I understand it, and I'm not really an expert on Christian theology outside of Swedenborg, but as I understand it, there's this concept of the fall, which is that because Eve listened to the snake who told her to eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is what you're not supposed to eat. God said, don't do that. And then she got Adam to do it, and Adam said, okay, I'll do that. That humanity had what was called the fall, where they went out of God's order and got God angry at them, and this was what wrecked the human race. So he has a more nuanced view of it. As I said before, for example, the story of Adam and Eve, he doesn't believe that the human race really started with just two people, and that's not a literal story. That is talking, though, about the fall in a more human race wide lens. And what the fall, what you could call the fall to him, was the loss of this original spiritual state that we were in. So it's as a result. So he says that people pass things along to their descendants spiritually, just like you do physically. Right now, all of us are genetically, we're a makeup of our ancestors because genes are passed along. He says that their spiritual things are passed along in the same way. Spiritual things to him being your sort of your tendencies of what you love, what you care about, sort of the nature that you have, the mental and emotional nature. And so if people in their life choose to make their life about mainly self-centeredness and materialism, that can get passed along to the next generation through them. Not that they will automatically become self-centered and materialistic, but there'll be a draw there. There will be a kind of a tendency toward that. So because people kept making these choices to try to exert control and power over each other, to be self-centered and shallow, that kind of got into the human spiritual environment. So there's so much of that in our past that now we all have to kind of swim upstream against it. That's why people have to, you start out like kids, they have a lot of great stuff about them, but also you have to stop them from bullying each other and stealing from each other. And you have to fight these parts of your nature that would be a result of what you could call the fall, that we aren't in the kind of spiritually open state that we started in. So to Swedenborg, it would be, this is something that does get passed down in the human race. But if you make progress in your life, if you say, I don't want to do this, I have this tendency toward doing this harmful thing to people, but I don't want to do it because I don't think it's the right thing, and you generally follow that positivity gets passed down. So we can all take little steps to push back and kind of unfall the human race.
Okay, I totally get that. I hope that's answered your question, April. Thank you for that one. Andy asks, is that in the writings of Swedenborg, does anything have a spirit that dies? For example, bugs, ants, animals that have died for the meat trade. So does their spirit, did he ever talk about animals, and if their spirit died, they were born to be...
Right. Everything that's alive has a spirit. So it's to Swedenborg, physical matter is inert. So it doesn't have any life in it. All life is the spiritual world inhabiting the physical world. So he talks about all life forms having souls of various kinds. We did a show called Are There Animals in the Afterlife, where we talk about all the kinds of animals that he saw there and what they were like and what they were doing. But in general, all life is spiritual. You couldn't have something that was alive but didn't have some kind of spirit.
Okay, thank you. David Banner asks, was he communicating with the Anunnaki in the astral dimension? Do you know?
I don't believe he doesn't ever mention that.
Good question.
Sorry. Okay, thank you for asking that question, David Banner, and thank you for answering, Curtis. Next question, Bridget Blaine. Are you okay if I just fire them off now, the questions, or are you okay, Curtis?
Could I say to Bruce, that's a good question coming from a globalist?
You what? Sorry, Underbelly.
Nothing. Never mind.
All right. All good.
Okay. How much longer do we have, Curtis? Do you need to?
Yeah, man. What about like just a couple, like 5 more minutes or so?
Yeah. If we've got any more questions, we can just fit in before we go.
Great.
Did Swedenborg work alongside anyone else with his writings?
No, he never got married. He although he aspired to, and he didn't have he had like someone who was publishing. He had a publisher that he worked with, a couple of different publishers, but there wasn't anyone he was working with. As in, he was doing all of the original draft and then all the fair copy. You had to write everything out like with a quill and ink back then. So you had to write his whole long book, cross-reference it and everything, but then had to rewrite the whole thing in this really legible way of writing that's called the fair copy, that then the printer would go and take and put the printing press in that order. So no, but he was very much a solo operation in that way.
He lived very long, 82. Like that is really long.
And he was like cranking out books like right to the end. So he was like an incredibly industrious, fastidious kind of dude.
Wow. Okay, another question. Last couple now because Curtis needs to go. What other influences does Curtis have in his life? So, do you have any other influences other than Swedenborg's work?
Sure, absolutely. I know of a lot of kinds. I mean, I definitely, like on the spiritual front, I read a lot of near-death experiences, and like all the classics, like Life After Life by Raymond Moody, Howard Storm, Danny and Brinkley. And it definitely affected Mary Neal. I was affected by those. I have, definitely been influenced by various meditation, yoga, those kinds of things. I love nature. I mean, that was originally when I first started going to school. I thought, oh, that's what I want to do is get into conservation biology. Just because I loved animals. I loved seeing them. If I was going somewhere, traveling somewhere, I'd like, what kind of animals live there? I want to go snorkeling and go see them. So I've definitely been influenced by that. And then, certainly people in my life, my parents, other people that worked at Swedenborg Foundation have influenced me. So I feel like I'm still getting a ton of influence from, been reading a lot of good books about public speaking and about philosophy. So I've certainly owe everything I know to a great many people.
Do you have any pets out of interest? Do you have animals?
Mm-hmm. We have a dog whose name's Sprocket, and he's 9. Yeah, and he looks like a Dalmatian, but he's not. We rescued him. We don't know exactly what he was. They say he's a hound mix, but he's like black and white with black ears, looks a lot like a Dalmatian, but is a little different. And then I have a fish, one fish named Blubby. My daughter named him. But so I used to have a whole fish tank where we had a lot of different, small tropical fish. But they have a limited lifespan and they all passed on, except Blubby has been he's like almost 10 years old. He's a Bosemani rainbow fish, so he's about that long. So we're just gonna keep with him till he goes, but it's much longer than they're supposed to live. So he's really found something that works.
Tropical fish as well. They're supposed to live till like 3.
Yeah,
we've got people that are like 10 and some shrimp as well. So yeah, I think that's amazing, isn't it? That happens.
Yep.
They don't want to leave. Sorry, Underbelly, did you say something?
No.
Sorry. I thought I heard you say something. Okay, last question because Curtis needs to go. So one more question. Rebel music, is this a growing movement religion? Is it a religion though?
I don't think it's a religion. Since Swedenborg happened, there have been sort of 2 tracts of people who have been influenced by him. I think there's been a religious tract and then a non-religious tract. So there's a couple of church organizations that are Swedenborgian churches. I think there are there are 3 organizations that all have these different congregations in North America. There's a number in the UK, and there's some in Australia. They're Africa, Asia. They're around the world, but all together, it's not that many people. I think all of them together is probably like 10,000 or something like that. There's also, though, always been this line of people that have been influenced by Swedenborg, but not through a church. I mentioned a couple of the bigger names before. So I would say no, except for the only thing that's been growing about it is just recently on YouTube for us. We've been able to get way more attention on Swedenborg's writings on YouTube than I ever thought. So it's been really cool the last 10 years. I thought, we'll just I didn't really know what YouTube was back in 2011 when I started here. I just thought, okay, it's like you go there and watch videos about like a cat is trying to hop into a box, and that's funny. But I didn't know there was really this whole world of discussing deep and important things there. So I thought, well, Swedenborg, I think, has something to offer the conversation, and I thought he would get a little attention. But we've gotten a ton of for Swedenborg, a ton of attention, and so that's been really exciting to me. So in that way, it's grown. Which is exciting because I do think it can do some good for the world. So I hope it continues at the foundation. We can keep finding ways that people who would like it can find it.
Brilliant, thank you. I think we'll end it there. So a big thank you to all of everyone for asking the questions. We'll discuss it a little bit when Curtis goes. We'll just do a little bit of an after show. People can give their thoughts. Underbelly, thank you for joining us. Are you still awake?
I'm still here. I just want to say, in defense of Swedenborg, did I say it right?
Yep, it's good.
It didn't say it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In defense of him, it's surely he can't do any more harm.
That window is closed.
Yeah, that's gone. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you, Curtis. Do you know how to end? Do you know how to leave the studio?
I'll just close the browser. I think we'll be good.
If you click,
nice meeting you, brother.
You have to click.
Oh, I see that little X there. Yep, I'll leave it. Good to meet you.
Yeah. Studio. So can we all say thank you, please, to Curtis, and check out his channel? And I'll be over there as well. I've just subscribed.
Will you ever come up again?
Sure. Yep, I'd love to.
I'd love to talk to you more about on the spiritual side of things.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, let's do it again.
You're definitely welcome back anytime, Curtis.
Good. All right. So nice to meet all of you.
Thank you, and you. Take care.
See ya.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye. Underbelly, how are you? My back's hurting, so I've got to keep moving because of my back. Wasn't an interesting dude?
Yeah. There's some great questions, man, from
yeah, you guys have got the awesome questions. Thank you.
And
they were getting better and better at the end when he had to go. You see, he's been going for it's a long time to be interviewed, because remember that, guys, that when we're doing our streams, we're very laid back. We have a laugh. We're not in a very timely manner. But Curtis is obviously a lot more professional. His channel's got 135,000 subscribers, and he does proper interviews. So for Curtis, he's a busy guy. He booked 5-6 weeks in advance. I booked him in June. So he's got a lot going on, so we had to keep it timely. So if you did ask a question and we missed it at the end, I apologize. We got in as many as we could, and he gave us quite a lot of his time, so I'm grateful for that. But we're not used to that, are we? We Underbelly, we're so chilled and laid back. It's not often that we have to do it in a more timely manner, and we usually have a laughing chat, but there was a few digs. I didn't like it because it's not appropriate to be in my, taking the piss, because it's very easy in chat to write stuff, but when you actually sat talking to someone face to face, what you're writing in chat, you wouldn't be saying to someone's face to face. And that's why I'm glad that Jeff brought that up, because any other time you can take the pee out of me, take the pee out of anybody. But when we've got a guest up like that, if he's giving us his time, I think we have to be respectful. But mostly it was really respectful. But it's difficult because we're so used to the way we are on here. We just take the pee out of everything, don't we, really? Thank you, April. Yeah, thank you, Becky. I'm sorry I couldn't really interact with chat very well tonight. I couldn't do because obviously I'm interviewing, so I didn't get to check on Becky Louise. Becky Louise said she was having a blackout or something. Did you see that, Underbelly?
No, I missed that.
Underbelly's.
What do you mean, like electrical blackout, or your body's blacking out?
Becky Louise is the. I wonder if Paz is around. Becky Louise is the same lady that. Did you see Lucy come in last night?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Did you watch any of it?
Sorry. No. We had a very late night.
Well, basically, what happened last night was Paz popped up, right?
That was my next question. Was Paz there?
Yeah, it was like banter. Yeah. It's just, yeah. I don't mind light banter, but asking him if he's ever kissed a girl and asking him if he's ever put anything into a CUNT is a bit, you know.
I've never seen that. That's bad.
Underbelly is too stoned to notice it. But yeah, no. Usually it does. Usually it's fine. You know, you can take the pee out of me all you want, but he was a really interesting guy. Remember, he's not used to this channel, so he's not used to how we operate. You know, and Underbelly can say that. Underbelly can confirm that it's different when you're in a chat, isn't it, to when you're actually talking to somebody. Yeah, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Did Paz get the fox? I don't know. Oh no, right, okay, I've got an update. So I've got a couple of updates. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you to everybody who has asked questions. Even banter. Banter's okay. Banter's good. But yeah, you can banter away now. Where is he located? He said he was born in Michigan, but he's living in Pennsylvania now. That's the problem, Rebel Music and David Banner is, and I'm in the same boat as you. Okay,
I'm not.
I was approached by not from Curtis. I was approached. I'm just going to tell you, I got approached in June by email by one of the Swedenborg Foundation members or people that run it. And I got contacted by this guy. I think his name was Vic, and he said,
Can you say it 3 times real fast?
Why?
It's a mouthful. I just want to see if you can say it.
Swedenborg.
Oh,
How's
man.
that?
You're chairman level.
So, hang on a minute. Yeah, so I was approached in June by a guy called Vic, and he said, we've been looking at your channel. He said, I'm a new fan of your channel. And he said his favourite so far was the interview with Ash that we did a couple of years ago, with Ash the reptilian from Mars. And he said, I think that this could be a good interview for you. And he says, the guy that will do it is called Curtis. And that was obviously Curtis. And he says, would you be interested in interviewing one of our people? And I was like, I think, yeah. So I put it out to the guys in the Telegram chat. And I says, what do you guys think? And they were like, yeah, we like meeting new people and learning about new things. And that's where it went. And then obviously he's very busy. So this was back in June. And he says the next free date is going to be August. So that's when we decided to do it for today. So it wasn't like we went looking for him. They came to us, which I thought was really nice of them, considering like he's got a big channel. Just look, his channel's pinned. He's got like over 135,000 subscribers. I didn't even know he had a YouTube channel. We didn't know that at the time. I was just approached by them, and I was like, yeah, but I'll talk to anybody, whether he's got a channel, whether he's not got a channel. Everyone's welcome here. So, but he's got a few more subscribers tonight, and seems like a lovely guy. But he's welcome back, Underbelly. So now you've spoken to Curtis, maybe we could get him back, and maybe you could get some questions together. Now you know who he is and what he's about.
Yeah, we can just play it by ear again.
Yeah, well, what I'll do, I'll need to book him in though, because obviously I'd have to. I'll contact him and say, look, did you enjoy it? If you want to come back, just let me know some dates, and I'm definitely going to go and check out his channel. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. So I've got an update from Paz. Okay, so last night, Underbelly, you don't know about this, right? But the reason why Paz was so late for the stream was because he's got these new chickens, right? His little baby chicks,
Yeah.
and he went to put them to bed because his missus left them out a bit longer for a little play in the garden. And he went to put them to bed, and one of them was missing, and they couldn't find it anywhere, right? And then they seen a fox running away, and there was a line of feathers from along where the fox had been, and they scoured the garden, completely scoured the garden. They chased the fox. The fox got away, and they were completely convinced the fox had taken the baby chick. So Paz went and got his air rifle out, and he was showing us on the stream. He says, right, this has come out of retirement for the fox. He's going to get the fox back for taking the baby chick. Are you following?
Mm-hmm.
I was upset, as you can imagine, because I don't want the chick to die, but I also know that the fox is feeding her babies. But then, if it was one of my rabbits, I would probably smash the fox's skull in. Well, I'm saying that, but I bet I wouldn't, because that is how I would feel if something took one of my bunnies.
Mm.
Yeah, but I doubt I would do that. But that I can understand why Paz is upset. Anyway, so someone just said, did he get the fox? Okay, Paz, as far as I'm aware, didn't get the fox. But then this morning, Mrs. Paz woke up to a noise in the back garden, and the chick has reappeared. They are completely baffled because it was gone. They checked the garden top to bottom, and it was not there. And it's just appeared. So they don't know how it could have possibly been hiding. Lucy could go into the spirit world and got the chick and brought it back.
No, man. It reminds me of The Thing.
Pet Cemetery.
No, The Thing. Remember, first it was a dog. You ever seen the movie The Thing?
The one in Antarctica.
Yeah. You remember it came to the camp as a dog?
The Thing.
Yeah.
Why would the chick be the thing?
Because first the dog killed the chick, and then the chick, then the thing became the chick. And now the chick's in the house, and it might kill Paz to become Paz.
So, hang on a minute. But Underbelly's proper stoned. We had a phone conversation, didn't we, before the stream? Me and Underbelly did, and because we had spoken about this, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be on tonight because he had a little bit of a break, and he was like, "This should be fun, man." And I was like, "Have you got some weed?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Oh God, I'm getting stoned. It should be fun." But you could hear you getting more and more stoned throughout. It was really funny because it was like, you're gonna look back and laugh. The best interviews are when Underbelly stoned. Paz, are you around? Anyway, so let me just tell you this, right? Hang on. So then Lucy comes on, and Becky Louise, right, has only been Becky Louise is this lady here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Becky Louise has only been around for about a week, maybe two, right? So the people that are saying that this is Paz doing this, is bollocks. Anyway, so yeah, it's really confusing. There was 2 Lucys last night. There was a Lucy on the stream.
Whoa.
I know it's confusing. Okay, I'm going to find it for you, okay? Listen to this underbelly, right? Last
2
night...
Lucy's.
Hey?
No, go on. I was just getting my head around 2 Lucy's.
Right. Last night, okay, we had a Lucy on the screen and a Lucy on the thing, you know, coming through the thing. Lucy was talking over Lucy. Anyway, so Becky Louise. Right, Becky Louise here, Underbelly. You following, yeah?
I'm trying to.
Becky Louise new to the channel. She's only been here for like a week, maybe 2. Okay. Paz was on holiday when it was funny. Paz was on holiday when Becky Louise was coming in. So people that are blaming Paz didn't even know who Becky Louise was. Okay. All of a sudden, while the Lucy was on the screen, yeah, I'll send you the link after and I'll give you timestamps. Lucy starts talking, the other Lucy, the original Lucy, and says, I have a message for Becky Louise. And we're like, what? And then she said, Becky Louise has a third eye. Right? Now, we didn't know that... hang on a minute, Jack's away now. We didn't know that Becky Louise was having demonic attacks. Okay, we didn't know that. So she kept saying that Becky Louise has a third eye. She was talking about Becky Louise like she had, like she was like angel wings, and she said that Becky Louise is special. Becky Louise is under attack, right? And she was saying all this stuff, and Becky Louise wasn't even here. This is so bizarre. And then, well, she would have if Paz would have come up, Bridget Blaine. But I didn't send him the link. I didn't think he was going to come in because he didn't type again. Paz, are you around? So anyway, then Paz had to go because we thought he was going to shoot the fox. And then Becky Louise came in to chat because she was missing. She wasn't here. And anyway, we need to get... Right, Becky Louise, darling, are you free tomorrow night? Because Paz is free tomorrow night. And Lucy wants to help Becky Louise. She said she's got... Now, how would Lucy know who Becky Louise wants? How would Paz know who she is? He's been on holiday. He's not been watching. And yeah, she said the dark one wants to enter her underbelly. She did, didn't she?
And then you don't want me on that show.
You what?
You don't want me on that show. I'll unleash on again.
So we need to get Becky, love, would you... It's demonic. Well, look, I don't think it is. She's trying to help. She's not the dark one. Underbelly. She's not, is she? Becky Louise, the dark one is a separate entity, okay? And it's been influencing Lucy. Lucy is a spirit. Blackjack. So will you come and get the message from... okay, so if me and Paz do a stream tomorrow night, if you won't be on the stream, will you at least be in the chat? So we can find out what this message is, because she's worried about you. You see, what you heard... Right, Becky watched the... you know the bull on a motorbike one, Underbelly?
Who? Oh, the noise.
Should we watch that again?
I want to see this. I want to see this freaky one when she came on the one that I missed.
Hang on.
These guys in chat said it's hilarious. The one guy's calling it out.
You missed it, man. You missed it. It was
David Banner's calling it out, saying he could see Paz's thing moving.
David Banner's blaming Paz. It wasn't Paz it was not Paz. Hang on.
I want to see this one. This looks good.
If you're stoned underbelly, then this is definitely going to be fun.
I think it got angel wings though.
Well, this is the thing. Becky, did you see it when Underbelly unleashed the demon? That was so fucking funny. I'm telling you, David Banner, it looked like it come from me. So she won't. So Becky Louise, we want you to come and find out what. So you won't come and talk to us then. Alan Edge, no, you are fine. Don't apologise. He sent me a message on Facebook.
Yeah.
Dad.
Hang on a minute.
Did you hear that?
Was that your kid?
There's no kids here.
Oh, fuck off. Don't do that to me. Do you remember that? Listen out for the other. The thing is, though, David Banner, it's done it when Paz wasn't here, hasn't it, Underbelly?
I can confirm nor deny that statement.
It did. Hi. Was you there when Lucy blamed me, Underbelly?
Yeah.
She went, you lie, you lie, you lie. Right, well, Becky Louise, love, people think it's Paz messing around, but it's not. Okay, so this is Lucy when Lucy came in last night, okay? I'm going to mute myself. Cool. So, hang on a minute. Oh, no, wait. We've got, we could maybe show our guest. Oh, they're here now. Okay, they're here. So.
Oh, Samuel L. Saxon. No, it didn't leave a tail when it shot off. It was just a white. It didn't.
Hello, Penny.
Hello, Lucy. You fine?
Hello, Paz.
Hello, Lucy. Nice to see you in person finally.
I
You look
know.
awfully handsome, Paz, with
What
that,
do you reckon,
that
Underbelly?
headset on.
I've pulled.
It's I think Lucy has got a bit of a crush. Lucy,
Yes, Penny.
Underbelly, are you there? Hello,
Dad.
can you hear me, Underbelly?
I'm still here.
Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when Lucy's been here for a bit, the other Lucy comes through. Oh, you do? When are you free, sweetheart? Are you free on Wednesday? Paz can do Wednesday. Can you do Wednesday? Yeah, this is just a joke. Okay, so Underbelly, so you are still with us, yeah?
I was a bit stirred up. I thought there was going to be some sort of you know what I mean? Some sort of Lucy trying to break on through.
No, there wasn't. The other Lucy comes through. I'm going to play it now.
No, but I thought it was a visual from Lucy as well. Not a ooh, Paz, ooh.
I'm confused. Okay,
No.
Right, you know Agnes. You know the ghost that says that she's Agnes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was Underbelly's Becky, love. Lucy, hello, Blackjack. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you coming in. Lucy, the original, this Lucy, when Lucy came through, she said it was Agnes, and this Lucy was saying Agnes is my neighbour. Ignore her, she lies. Because Agnes kept saying that Lucy was the dark one. Do you remember? Underbelly's muted himself. He's stoned.
I got my little kid.
Have you got a bit of a crush on? Watch your face.
Yes, I do.
Is
Oh,
that
even,
like going around? Look at her
even
face.
ghosts
Look.
can be blind. Clearly.
No, I see you very well, Paz. You're just, I can't, look, Paz, I can't help it that you're so sexy.
What do you think of
I hope
Lucy?
this
What
is
do you
49 watching it.
think? Lucy, has anyone got any questions for Lucy? Right, watch now. So what's it comes through? Hold on, listen. Underbelly, are you listening?
Yeah.
Okay, wait there. We get the Lucy voice. Cut her face. Sounds like a character from South Park. So Lucy, who's that? So how is the dark one? Has the dark one been bothering you?
No, that's, okay, look, let me explain it to you guys like this. Agnes was nuts, all right? Agnes, was that her name? I can't even remember that. Oh my God. Wow, Paz.
You've scared him off.
Paz, come back. Paz, I love you.
Come back. Paz, come back. So Agnes said that you were the dark one.
Agnes is nuts. Agnes, okay, look it. Agnes is not right in her head. Okay, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. The dark one. Do I look dark to you?
You don't look dark. You look the opposite to dark. Is Agnes like your evil twin?
No, she's like my neighbor, and we don't get along very well because she's always putting her trash in my bin. And honestly, I'm sick and tired of it. It's like, Agnes, you've got your own bins. You lazy old bird, go put your trash in your own bins and quit putting it in mine. So then it started kind of like this war. And ever since then, she's been slandering me all over the neighborhood and then going to streams that I like to go to and telling people I'm the dark one. It's like, for the love of God, you can't get more white than a ghost.
You can't. Did you hear that, Paz? Did you miss that? Only you muted. You muted.
Yeah, sorry, right, okay, what did I miss? Sorry.
We were just saying who's Agnes, and I think I've just
Agnes has been slandering me all over, Paz. Don't believe anything she says about Lucy, okay?
Oh, I won't. I'll tell her to piss off.
Agnes said that Lucy's the dark one, and we were just saying Lucy's not very dark.
No,
she's
why
not.
does it
She's
go?
Yeah, she's paler than my ass cheeks.
That's right. And what a neat ass that is.
Oh yeah. Oh, you do watch me.
So, Pat, one of the fox, Lucy, a fox got one of Paz's chickens.
Oh.
Can you go and
I can get it.
Can you go and get? Can you go and haunt the fox, please?
Yes.
Oh, I'll take care of it, Paz. The
Well,
fox will never come by your chickens again.
If I get my way tonight, the fox will be joining you over the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, Paz. I don't think you should kill the fox, though, Paz. It was just hungry. It's not really its fault, but I understand. Okay, Paz, what kind of chickens do you have? I know I've seen them before, but you got to understand I've got a lot going on. I'm a little bit forgetful. Do you have those silky chickens?
Silky chickens?
The fluffy-looking ones that are cute?
No, I've got a black one, 2 white one, and now one big ginger one, and one now small ginger one.
Yeah. The fox only got part of the chicken?
It got the whole little chicken, or it got the whole little chicken.
What a son of a gun.
That's what I said.
Yeah, we're a bitch.
But yeah. So I'll be on guard duty tonight with old Betsy, old faithful.
Yeah, that's right, Paz. Just blow that son of a gun out of the water if it comes near the chicken's bin.
I'm gonna blow its foxy ass up.
Yeah. I understand that, but I feel sorry for the fox. Apparently, Agnes is Lucy's neighbour. They've got a bit of an argument going on about. Yeah, this is why Agnes has been slandering Lucy everywhere.
Ghost, a phantom slanderer.
Yeah,
she's putting over rubbish in my bins, Paz, and I keep telling her, use your own goddamn bin.
Yeah, you tell her.
Yeah. So now she's going around all over the place, slandering me everywhere. Everybody thinks I'm some
This
like
is a good
evil,
thing to watch when you're
dark
stoned,
spirit, you know,
Underbelly.
and doing weird stuff. That's not me. That's Agnes, man. She's not. She's not right in the head.
Oh,
She does sound a bit nuts, Lucy.
Whoa.
So who is the dark one then? Is do you know who the dark one is?
Well, the dark one. The last time I checked, the dark one. That was Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy. You guys know? Oh, I forget. You guys don't know my American shit. Well, I don't know any dark ones. Yeah, Charlie Murphy. They call him the Darkness.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Is Lucy from the USA? Says Kate.
Yes.
Yeah, Lucy. Yeah, last time Lucy came up. Hello, Miss 49. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Rhode Island Reds. That's what they are.
Yeah, there's Miss 49. So last time Lucy came on, she actually gave Tim a lasagna recipe, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. I told him, yeah.
Tuna lasagna.
Yeah. Whoa, do that again, Baz.
I think
that just made
You're making me blush, Lucy. You're making me blush.
I know, me too. Look at, do you see the little red circles on my white cheek?
Oh no, you're making Lucy blush, Paz.
Oh, there we go.
So Lucy, Paz has been on holiday. Have you missed him?
Yes, I've been so depressed. I've just been sitting around my house, drinking wine and listening to Barbra Streisand and singing sad songs.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why I couldn't go with Baz. I mean, it's not like anybody can see me.
Yeah, but maybe his missus wouldn't have liked it.
She didn't see me either. Just, you know, she just, you know, I just sneak in every now and then. Hey, Baz.
What? So how are we getting on with Angel Wings? Have you heard anything from her? Because she said that you're a demon and an evil Underbelly. Do you want me to just quickly find the bit where Lucy?
Yeah, there's something wrong with her. She took off in that one stream when I don't
Underbelly,
understand.
you still there?
Well, that's right, because I am Lucy, so she better say that I'm Lucy. But that's.
No, I just gotta go. I gotta get her off.
All right, hold on.
I'm just gonna say good night, everyone, man. Good night. I'll catch you later. I really gotta go.
Yeah, okay, Underbelly. Drop me a message. If you're free Wednesday, will you pop in?
All right, yeah, if I'm free. Honestly, sorry about this. All right, you gotta go.
Yeah, speak soon. Bye. Good night. Thanks for joining us. I was just looking for that bit where Lucy comes through. Yeah, Jack's up as well. So it's difficult, isn't it? So I've only just seen the private chat. Sorry, Underbelly. Okay. It's really difficult, you know, when your kids are away. My point I'm trying to make, Becky Louise, sweetheart, is it could be that, you know, if all these horrible things have happened already, and Lucy knows about them, then could it be a case of she's trying to help? And I know you say that they lie, but why would she be giving us psalms? You know? Sorry, I'm just getting into chat a sec. Hold on. But Alan, yeah, don't worry. Alan sent me a message. It just slammed my door. I'm really worried about Becky Louise. Lucy did. Lucy gave us psalms. She said she needed to help you. She just came on out the blue, and normally she'll talk to us, but she just kept going on about you. She said, message for Becky Louise, and she wants to help you. She said that the dark one, who is that bull, that noise, the dark one is trying to enter you. And she said she's trying to help. So What, I don't know, what are people thinking? You need some proper healing entity around or attached to you, Becky. The thing is, if this is happening to you, darling, what if this is a way of helping? I didn't hear. No, this was on other times, Becky. She's came in other times. She's told us several times to which psalms there are. She's been on, I don't know, she's been on countless times in the last 5 months. March she first came. Anyway, before we get off, I'm gonna go live on Wednesday night with Paz, okay? So if you're free, if you can be around, that would be good. You don't have to be, but this could help you, because how would Lucy know about all these attacks? She's a spirit. She said that she lived in, what was it? Blackjack, are you here? And not Dave. Who's Dave? Oh, you mean how do we know Becky's a real person and not a troll? I've heard Becky's voice. Becky left me a voice note on Telegram last night, because that was another thing that we do get trolls coming in pretending to be new people. So, but I've heard Becky's voice. Becky is a real person. Would it, like, the thing is, everything happens for a reason, okay? Becky just stumbled across this channel. Now, Jack Powers did the same. He just stumbled across the channel, and I'm hoping he comes back. I think that was meant to happen, and talking about this could help. If you are suffering, really, what group? Where have you met her before, Sunflower? Do you mean the Telegram group? Are you in the Telegram group? You're not, are you? Who is Jack? Jack's my boy. Why? What group was that, Sunflower Love? Is Lucy Spirit the one who was chatting with you and Paz last night? That was a joke, Lucy. Then the real Lucy came through. Oh, okay. So where did you meet Becky then? What group was that? On what? Okay. Becky was saying, yeah, Lucy watches everything. Since Lucy came, apart from one time, all my paranormal activity stopped when Lucy came. We've had a little bit again lately, and when Lucy's not around, we have more and more paranormal activity. When Lucy's around, we don't. I don't know why. Paz was having paranormal activity constantly, and now his has stopped. This could be a way of helping. I don't know. But there is two entities. Oh, okay. What's a channel, you mean, on a group? Well, that's interesting. Oh, I've got itchy leg. Right, so what if Lucy is to try and help? You know, I don't know, but I do believe there's two entities. There is two. There's not just one, because the dark one comes in and takes over Lucy. Yeah, the dark one. Ask Lucy when she's on, what flag do I have on my wall? I don't think Lucy remote views people. I don't think that's how it works. She did say she wanted to help. She did. Anyway, before we go, what did everyone think of tonight's stream? Did you find it interesting doing it like that, like a proper interview, or did you enjoy that? Because I could always reach, because he reached out. I was having a joke, Lucy's not been a good idea. I think having the joke, Lucy. You think? I thought I liked the joke. The joke Lucy came up before on my birthday. We didn't know she was coming. She just popped up, and I couldn't stop laughing. Which I thought was really, really funny. But I don't think that the real Lucy will be that offended. With the dead, I'm not being difficult. I'm just trying. No, I totally understand what you're saying, love. I really do. But I also believe that the dark one is a different entity to Lucy. Okay? I don't think they're both the same thing. Now, you seem like what Jack was going through. Oh, sorry, who's Jack? Not my son, Jack. Another lad. His name's Jack Powers. I'll need to give him my new number. He's only about 22, 23. He came across my channel and he was adopted. He was involved in the occult as a child, and he came in and we were trying to give him support. This was before Lucy came along. And he sounds like he was in a very similar experience, similar boat to you. Yeah, I don't think all of it's bad. I think that, which last night, free speech. I need to go really because Jack's awake, but I wanted Lucy to talk to us when the other Lucy had gone. But Paz had to go. Hold on.
That's very funny.
Dean, just because of the way that I'm shaped right now, it doesn't mean you gotta get your mind out of the gutter, Dean. What the hell's wrong with you? I was in another stream before this, you guys, and said, well, I can't even tell you what they said. I'll type it in the private chat. Hold on. I'm so pissed off.
Is a threesome with two goats classed as cheating, Miss 49? Yeah, is it classed as cheating? I don't know.
Only if you get caught.
Oh, dear.
Only if you get caught. Okay, so you've just put something in the private chat to Lucy.
Yes, that's what somebody in the last chat said I look like.
In the night.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know she was here in the chat. Hi, Mrs. 49. I'm just kidding with you.
And Lucy is talking about, do you know anything about Becky Louise having a third eye, Lucy?
Third eye?
Yeah, in the night.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know she was here.
It's kind of hot, says Benet Sauce. You've got a few men in the chat, Lucy. Love triangle going on.
I love triangle with two ghosts.
Yeah. Paz, only you.
Put out of my pool, Agnes. It can pass as mine.
Oh,
well,
no.
I've seen that film, The Entity.
Oh yeah, The Entity.
Yeah, but I don't think it's happened with two ghosts before, so it could be a.
No, I don't think it has.
First.
Yeah. Hello, Paul from Newcastle. How are you? Lucy looks like someone is having fun at night on a blue tablet. Is a threesome with two goats classed as cheating, Miss 49? Yeah. Is it?
Oh, does she?
She's new. She's only been in the channel a week.
Oh, I have
She's
no
really
idea.
nice. What about Becky Louise? Yeah, Lucy.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, last time Lucy came up. Hello, Miss 49. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Rhode Island Reds. That's what they are.
Yeah, there's Miss 49. So last time Lucy came on, she actually gave Tim a lasagna recipe, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. I told him, yeah.
Tuna lasagna.
Yeah. Whoa, do that again, Dad.
I think.
Oh, that just made me country.
You're making me blush, Lucy. You're making me blush.
I know, me too. Look at see the little red circles on my white cheek.
Oh no, you're making Lucy blush, Paz.
Oh, there we go.
So Lucy, Paz has been on holiday. Have you missed him?
Yes, I've been so depressed. I've just been sitting around my house, drinking wine and listening to Barbra Streisand and singing sad songs.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why I couldn't go with Paz. I mean, it's not like anybody can see me.
Yeah, but maybe his missus wouldn't have liked it.
She didn't see me either. Just she's just I just sneak in every now and then. Hey, Baz.
What? So how are we getting on with Angel Wings? Have you heard anything from her? Because she said that you're a demon. Does anyone know where this was, where Lucy spoke? Have I gone past it? Can't find it.
Oh, you do watch me.
Yes, it's not right in her head. Hey.
Miss Paz, then Miss 49. What have you got any plans there? This is why you've been so it's not yet. I think Lucy has got a bit of a crush. Lucy?
Yes, Penny.
Have you got a bit of a crush on Paz?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
is that why you film around?
Even ghosts can be blind, clearly.
No, I see it. And she can have the rest of the day.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, it's not right in her head. Okay? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, the dark.
Tell her to piss off.
Agnes said that Lucy's the dark one, and we were just saying Lucy's not very dark. I need to get the
she's not. She's she's paler than my ass cheeks.
I'm hoping that
that's right.
Chat will help.
What a nice ass that is.
Oh yeah. Oh, you do watch me.
So, Pat, one of the Lucy, a fox got one of Paz's chickens.
Oh.
Can you go?
I don't think you should kill the fox, though, Pat. I know I've seen him before, but you got to understand I've got a lot going on.
Yeah. So I'll be on guard duty tonight with old Betsy. Old faithful.
Yeah, that's right, Pat. Just blow that son of a gun out of the water if it comes near your chicken.
Oh, I'm going to blow its foxy ass up.
Yeah. I understand that, but I feel sorry for the fox. Apparently, Agnes is Lucy's neighbour. They've got a. Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why I couldn't go with Paz. I mean, it's not like anybody can see me.
Yeah, but
is that definitely an imposter here?
There's an imposter. Who is the imposter? Is the question. What do you say?
Who?
Becky Louise. That's that. What that? Shut up. Yeah, but maybe his missus wouldn't have liked it.
She didn't see me either. Just she's just I just sneak in every now and then. Hey, Baz.
What? So how are we getting on with Angel Wings? Have you heard anything from her? Because she said that you're a demon and an evil entity.
She's nuts too. Yeah, there's something wrong with her. She took off in that one stream when I don't understand what happened. She just kept and ran, didn't she?
Lucy's here.
What? She's here. She's on screen.
The other Lucy.
What?
Sorry, say that again, please, other Lucy.
Becky Louise.
Who?
Becky Louise. That's that. What that? Shut up. Becky Louise comes into the chat.
Oh, does she?
She's new. She's only been in the channel a week.
Oh, I have no idea.
Nice. What about Becky Louise? Lucy, is that Agnes talking now?
I think so.
Right.
Crazy old ditty. Agnes, get a life.
Agnes. Hello, is that you, Agnes?
No.
Stop
Okay.
lying, Agnes. I recognize your voice, lady.
Hello, who is that, please? Who is that voice? Is that Lucy?
Lucy.
It's Lucy. Hang on a minute. We can't have two Lucys, Paz. What's going on?
Well, there's definitely an imposter here.
There's an imposter. Who is the imposter is the question. What do you say? Lucy on the screen.
Yeah.
Lucy's saying that you're Lucy.
Well, that's right, because I am Lucy, so she better say that I'm Lucy. But that's Agnes. I'm telling you, I know her voice. Look, I've lived next door to the lady for about 350 years now. I can pick her out of a line. I hear that voice in my sleep. It's horrible. And it doesn't matter if my garbage is in your bin. It sounds just like her.
So Agnes, why are you slandering Lucy, Agnes?
Crazy old bird.
Yeah, she's obviously got it. She obviously likes Paz as well, and we've got a bit of a love triangle going on.
A love triangle with two ghosts.
Yeah, Paz, only
Get your
you.
foot out of my pool, Agnes. This can pass as mine.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I've seen that film, The Entity.
Oh yeah, yeah, the entity.
Yeah, but I don't think it's happened with two ghosts before, so it could be a
No, I don't think it
world
has.
first.
Yeah. Hello, Paul from Newcastle. How are you? Lucy looks like someone is having fun night on a blue tablet, says Dido.
Isn't that Viagra?
Sorry?
Oh, I just got that. I got that. That's very funny.
Dean, just because of the way that I'm shaped right now, it doesn't mean you got to get your mind out of the gutter, Dean. What the?
You've got a few men in the chat, Lucy.
Well, good, because Paz is on his way out. See, I look like a cow. Yes, he said I look like a tampon.
Oh, Jesus.
That's not good. So what we're going to do with the other Lucy that says that she's Agnes? What are we going to do? Are you still there, other Lucy? I was wondering what all the moaning at night was, Jeff. Oh, I think you've been rumbled, Lucy. Look.
Rumbled?
Yeah, Miss 49's heard you. Heard Paz in the night.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know she was here in the chat. Hi, Mrs. 49. I'm just kidding with you. I'm not a homewrecker girl.
Well, we're in trouble now because we've got two Lucys coming in.
Thank you so much.
So Lucy, why did you initially attach yourself to Paz?
Well, hold on. Let me think about what to say now. Cause so I'd be your side bitch in America. Old biddy. She's just like you know what she reminds me of? A wad of beauty.
And Lucy is talking about. Do you know anything about Becky Louise having a third eye, Lucy?
Third eye.
Yeah, that's what Lucy just said.
Hold on. Let me think about what to say now.
Yeah, Miss 49's heard you. Heard Paz in the night.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know she was here in the chat. Hi, Mrs. 49. I'm just kidding with you. I'm not a homewrecker girl.
Well, we're in trouble now because we've got two Lucys coming in. So Lucy, why did you initially attach yourself to Paz?
Hold Hold on, let me think about what to say now, because now I feel a little bit of pressure. Because he's so nice and wholesome and such a good husband to his wife, Mrs. 49.
Oh,
I'm not married, sweetheart.
What? Wait a
They're
second,
not
you're not
married.
married?
I'm not
Then who
married.
the hell's the lady in the chat who's claiming to be your wife?
It's Mrs. 49.
they're not married. They're just together.
Yeah. Here
well,
in the
that-
UK, the other half is often called the Mrs.
Yeah, the missus.
Oh.
Yeah. Remember, Lucy's an American ghost. So.
So I'd be your side bitch in America.
Becky Louise has a third eye.
Oh my God, Becky Louise. Becky Louise turned up in our chat just over a week ago,
Okay.
and she seems lovely. And Lucy is talking about. Do you know anything about Becky Louise having a third eye, Lucy?
Third eye?
Yeah, that's what Lucy just said. The other Lucy.
Well, I mean, that's kind of weird, don't you think? I'm a ghost and I only have 2 eyes. See? So why the hell does Becky Louise have 3 eyes?
Do you do you have a tongue, Lucy?
Yes, it's all transparent. It's kind of transparent though. Like, she's a mess. Aren't you, Agnes? Yeah.
Is she?
You hear that?
A dirty white, is she?
Yeah, she's like an off.
When I wake up in the morning and I look down at the sheets.
Yes, I've witnessed this myself.
we need to.
Hold on, let me slip into something more comfortable.
Good night, Kate, sweetheart. Lots of love. Oh, look, Lucy's got a dog.
Yes,
night,
that's my
Kate.
dog.
Oh, it's got. I like his tongue.
He's very funny.
Oh, yeah. Vlogging. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. What sort of music are you into then, Lucy?
I like Eurotech. I like death metal. I like some singer songwriter type love songs type stuff. My favorite song right now is Barbara Streisand and Barry Gibb. What kind of fool tears it apart, leaving me pain. Oh, I don't want you to get a copyright. I'll stop right there. Do you all know that song?
I don't know that song. Paz, do you know that song?
No idea.
We
Is
know
it?
who Barbara Streisand is. Is Becky the red hair? I don't know if she got red hair. I think so. Lucy, what is Becky in danger? Sorry, Agnes. Lucy. Has anyone got any more questions for Lucy? For the Lucy on the screen. Lucy, I love your earphones. They are so cool.
Thank you. Did my boyfriend ever show up again? That other guy, Pitbull?
Oh yeah, the Pitbull. He never came back, but the other guy did. Eugene came back.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I scared him so badly.
No, holy crap! No wonder you're dead with that singing voice. That's not very nice. Find the bit where.
Well, I understand. I never sing very well, even when I was alive. I figured once I died, like they'd fix my voice, but no.
She's talking. Listen. Oh, Louise is talking. Lucy's talk. Say that again, please, Lucy.
Becky Louise has had contact.
Becky Louise has had contact.
Agnes, put the bottle down, lady. You're not making any sense.
That's so funny.
You do this every Sunday. You get all drunk and then you start making a fool out of yourself everywhere. Just sleep it off, Agnes.
So basically, she knew that you'd had contact. Yeah, you have to eat a lot of lettuce though, for it to take effect. Oh, my back. Oh, my back. Ah. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, God, it's so bad. One of the rare occasions that I thought I'd come on camera because I was doing an interview. Thank you, Sunflower. I'll check it after. I was just making me a jacket potato for my dinner. Yeah, you have to. Lettuce is actually an opiate. Becky Louise, okay. I'm going to tell you what I think, in my opinion. Now, you told us yesterday that you didn't have any friends. Now, since you've joined us, this has happened. Okay, no, it's fine. My pleasure, darling. Since you've joined us, Lucy is on about you. Now, if you're alone and you're being attacked by a demon, and now all of a sudden there is a spirit trying to help you, saying that you've got a third eye and that you have had contact, and you've got all of us now as well. This could be a case of you taking our energy. Since Lucy has been talking, whatever it is, touch wood, nothing's happened to Paz. She warns us about the dark one. My bogey. Is that a mouse? What is that? Yeah. Thank you so much. I think all men have. The thing is, Lucy's not saying that you should have she's saying you've got a third eye. She knows that you've had it opened, and she also knows that you're under attack. So, you know, she's not. I don't know. Okay, I think there are two. I think that when the baddie one comes through, that isn't Lucy. Okay. I would set up nanny cams. We already have cameras. No skip, because basically because of watching the rabbits and going out and leaving that, we've set up cameras. So, and do you know what? No word of a lie. Right? The other day I was watching Rupert and I was watching Rupert and Safi, right? I was watching them both, and all of a sudden, and I screen recorded, but too late. There was this weird, like, because I heard this bang, and I was watching the cameras live, because you can watch them live on your phone, and there was like weird flashes in the kitchen, and then there was like these like orbs, but not like dust orbs. They were like like that, like that, and then the rabbits were looking around, and I was like, I started screen recording the actual cameras, and nothing happened. It's honestly right. It's up to you, okay. But my point I'm making is, so far you seem to be getting more and more struggling. So can it get worse? I don't know. I do think that you are being targeted, and if you are alone and you've got no one to talk to, that is going to make it worse. Where with us, you've got our energy, you know. Oh, Jack's made another new friend today. It was so sweet. He's made a new little friend from somebody up the road on the same street, and he's been round his house all day. So cute. So yeah, it's got this new little friend called Reuben, and it's so sweet for Jack, because obviously his friends, he doesn't really see them. Well, he does see them, but he has to, like, they don't live in our town, you know. We have to drive over to see them. But yeah, he's been playing with this little boy all day called Reuben, and honestly, kids, have you got any children, Becky Louise? They do really, really help. It keeps me going. We have to test them, whatever they are. They're not of God. You don't converse. Yeah, no, we know you're not lying. Yeah, there'll be a whole lot of fuck offs. Do you know what though, Sid? I freeze when I see a ghost. I just don't. I don't move. I remember that thing when it came across the laptop the other week, and I was like that. Right, Al's doing me a jacket potato, so I'm gonna go. I'm so tired. Right. Yeah. So I won't be on Penny Bunny for a week because apparently talking about the England team winning is classed as deceptive. We're not allowed to talk about England anymore. We're not allowed to show our flag. We're not allowed to talk about the team. It's now racist and deceptive to talk about our country. You don't though. You don't. Like whenever I say anything, I just freeze. I've got your email as well, Game Vet. Tired. I've been really rubbish lately. Still does. I won't go into it. What happens seriously makes me feel sick. Right, Becky Louise is in the group. If you are in the group, you might want to turn notifications off because it does get really busy in there. Oh, my back hurts so much. So what did we end on? How many likes did we get? We got 53. We cannot get a 69er lately. We just can't do it. No matter what we do, not happening. Right, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's got a big channel. I didn't even know. Did not know we had a big channel. Didn't even know we had a channel, Curtis. So there you go. Right. I'm going to get off now. So isn't it ridiculous, Samuel? Thank you so much. 53 likes. We didn't get there. Thank you so much for the super chat to Anglo-Saxon. I'm still waiting for Lucy's. Think Lucky and you'll be Lucky Pen. It's weird though, isn't it? It's weird how luck and that comes in threes and stuff, and money brings money and bad luck brings bad luck. I'm hoping to get Lucy's blood test results this week. Well, it will be this week. Sid has really helped out. I know a lot of you have helped out with Lucy. If anybody else wants to help out, I think the new vet bill is something like 400. So we cleared the last one just about, and then I've paid like 100 and something. Sid gave me some the other day. I've put another 50. There's still a load to get for Lucy's vet bill if anybody wants to help. Oh, okay now. I'm so tired. I've got all my housework to do, yeah, and I can't keep my eyes open. So yeah, if anybody wants to help Lucy, you can. Lucy the rabbit, not the ghost. Right, okay. It was good, Sid. The guy was really interesting. I know you guys seemed to enjoy it. Join the Telegram. Bridget Blaine, again, if you want to join the other one, you can. Oh, Sid. No, not you. Oh, Sid. You've helped out so much. Yeah, I had an email off them today. They want £350 by the 24th of August. So, thank you, Sid. Sleep with the word of God. Apparently, I'm really tired. Hello, Kate. I'm just coming off now, sweetheart. Right, okay. Good night, everybody. Oh, Sid, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right then. I'll see you all I have loads to tell you. It's complicated. I would love to interview you about this, Becky. And I would do it in a way that was respectful, that if you would feel safe, you wouldn't need to worry about, thank you so much, everyone. If you felt uncomfortable, you wouldn't need to continue. How you doing, Katie, darling? You all right, sweetheart? Baby Jane is Katie, in case you're wondering, folks. But yeah, I'm tired. I'm shattered. Right. So I can't upload on Penny Bunny. So my bunny streams are now going to be on this channel for the next few days. Jack's football is Thursday, wasn't tonight, got mixed up. Just got home from taking Max. Becky Louise, I think that could really, really help, because you're talking amongst friends and you're taking the power away. They have the power because this thing has got you scared. It's got you alone, and it could help. So let me know if you're up for that. And if you're free on Wednesday, I think it is. Right. Love you all. I'll be on camera again in another year's time. Fucking hate being on camera. I felt rude, because I knew the dude was going to be on camera. So I felt rude, like, not being on camera and interviewing him. Like, if it's just anyone else, but when it's like a proper interview, I felt rude. So I really don't like being on camera. I really don't like myself. But thank you for the lovely comments at the start. It was very kind. Right, love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you all very, very, very soon. But remember, no members on my other channel, I apologise. I can't do anything for you. I can't give you any exclusives. I can't do anything. It's disgusting what they've done. But what can we do? Fuck, I'm tired. Right, love you. And I'll see you all tomorrow on this channel, remember. Or I might stream on my third channel, the Rabbit of Carabong, or whatever it's called, the one from... no, Becky, we should talk, yeah. But I think it would be good if... maybe, would you have Underbelly there? Underbelly's really good at this as well. And he's a really good friend. He's one of my Paz and Underbelly and my regular co-hosts. And David Bruce has now become a co-host too. Grumpy Grandad is one of my favourite co-hosts, but he's very, very shy. Right, okay, gotta go. I'll see you all later. Love you all. Night night. Bye.